Chapter 477. Traversing through the vast snowy plains, it seeped into the depths of the snowstorm continent. Some places were frozen for eternity. The degree of hardness of the ice had already reached the level of mid-grade to high-grade magic treasures. Most of the places were unable to allow ordinary people to survive. There were scattered clans and empires located in the snowy lands. Normally, it would take 3 months to travel from the Azure Cloud sect to the forbidden snowy forest. Fortunately, they did not encounter any accidents along the way. In just 2 months, the disciples had already arrived at the border of the forbidden snowy forest under the lead of Su Fong. The vast forest and snowy plains were completely frozen. The earth was covered in silver, like a sacred place that could not be profaned by humans. Su Fong allowed everyone to rest for a while. Thinking of the horror of the forbidden snowy forest, he ordered the disciples not to be careless. If there was any danger, they were to immediately mention it. After resting for a while, more than 100 people finally arrived at the forbidden snowy forest. Snow was constantly falling from the sky, causing the line of sight to be less than 1,000 meters. The disciples were covered in cold air as they used the jade sky, cold, mysterious technique. They advanced in the wind and snow, gradually entering the 100-feet-tall ancient forest that was either frozen or evergreen. The cold wind above the forest was like the snowflakes, constantly sweeping. Occasionally, there would be winged demons searching for food in the cold wind. Cold, it was so cold that there was no breath of life. Longevity disciples were unable to stay here for a long time. Further in was the terrifying snowstorm. The snowstorm hovered above the forbidden snowy forest, whistling. Its destructive power could tear apart Yang Soul Realm cultivators. Even Catastrophe Realm disciples were unable to break through the huge snowstorm. No wonder it was called a natural barrier. It was the #1 natural barrier in the snowstorm continent. The snowstorm was not only present in the high altitude, but it appeared continuously in the high altitude. Some snowstorms had a diameter of 100 miles, just like a snowstorm. Fortunately, the forbidden snowy forest was vast. With the forest and snowy mountains blocking most of the power of the snowstorm did not explode in the forest. Even so, to every disciple, the snowstorms of different sizes above them were like giant monsters opening their mouths, causing them to be unable to calm down. Su Fong looked at the map. He was very grateful for Li Qianlong's detailed map. We need to enter the forbidden snowy forest from the periphery. The interior is a snowstorm world that has been destroyed and controlled by a huge storm. Only after entering there can we be considered to have arrived at the forbidden snowy forest. There are many cultivators and demons in the periphery. Everyone form groups of 10. Each group is 50 meters apart and form a formation. We will push forward in a row and slowly advance towards the center. If you encounter any demons, use the formation to deal with them. Don't go out and kill demons alone. All disciples, listen to my orders. With the Yang Soul disciples in the lead, you will form small groups and sneak into the forest. The entire group will advance slowly in a square formation. Buzz! Suddenly, someone in front of him triggered something. Careful, there's movement. The Yang Ying disciple shouted to the crowd from the front. Chi-Chi! In an instant, more than 10 white-robed cultivators flew out. They seemed to be motionless. In the snowy plains, it was impossible for cultivators to detect them. It's the Crimson Firmament Continent's immortal sealing sect. The white-robed cultivators were stunned. One of them waved his hand. Everyone, stop! We are indeed disciples of the celestial sealing sect. Who are you? A figure sat on by Ling's back. When the snowstorm swept over, he silently appeared behind the experts. What incredible speed! The white-robed cultivators were shocked and hurriedly turned around. When they saw Su Fong, they sized up his Taoist robes. Only then did their uneasiness dissipate. One of the men said, "We are disciples of the Snow Sage's Cave. We are following the mission given by the sect's upper echelons to ambush here. Our main mission is to eliminate the Night Spirit Church's remnants in the forbidden, snowy forest together with many other sections." Snow Sage's Cave, a second-rate righteous faction on the snowy continent. Although it was called second-rate, the Snow Sage's Cave had very few disciples. It was less than 1/10 of the large sections. However, even if they had few disciples, each of them was an outstanding person with extraordinary abilities. Second-rate was only based on the number of disciples. In terms of overall strength, the Snow Sage's Cave was actually a first-rate faction. There were also some famous geniuses. The Celestial Sealing Sect's group relaxed. Su Fong bowed. So you are all disciples of the Snow Sage's Cave. I am Fong Yu, a disciple of the Celestial Sealing Sect. I have come to the forbidden snowy forest to train under the sect's orders. That disciple was extremely shocked. You are the genius who recently challenged Prince Shui and became famous in the Ewa Heaven world. Fong Yu. Yes, I am. Su Fongda admitted. I didn't expect to see you here. I heard that the sect had sent an envoy to the Crimson Heaven continent to attend your sect's grand ceremony. I didn't expect to meet you here in such a short time. Unfortunately, we are in the middle of a mission and can't waste too much time. Fellow Daoist Fong, you can go straight ahead. There are several places where rogue cultivators gather. It is relatively safe. The other party seemed to be in a hurry. He ordered the disciples to make way for Su Fong and the others. Su Fong had the disciples return the greeting and then left. As they hurried along, they really did encounter some rogue cultivators. They then arrived at a mountain range. There were many valleys in the mountain range, and each valley was occupied by cultivators. This mountain range is a place for righteous Tao cultivators to rest. It seems like there are no valleys for us to rest in. Everyone can rest in this forest halfway up the mountain. Everyone arrived in front of a snow-covered mountain range. Su Fong and the Yang Soul disciples sensed the path. After exploring, they finally chose a place halfway up the mountain that was hidden by a huge tree. They used a formation to let the disciples rest inside. There were quite a few Yang Soul disciples patrolling around the formation. They hid in the snow and used the Jade Sky Cold Mysterious technique. Su Fong still used his perfection stage ability to oversee the formation. He sensed everything around him and waited for the disciples to rest before heading out again. Buzz. Su Fong, who was in the middle of cultivating and sensing, suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the snowy world behind him. There's a strand of demonic chi that escaped into the mountain range. What a powerful method. The demonic chi isn't strong, so it must have taken on a perfect human form and mixed in with the human cultivators. It seems it's a powerful big goblin. It just so happens that I'm lacking junior commanders. The more, the better. This time, we can suppress over 100 junior commanders. Even if Prince Shui uses a magical treasure, I can still fight him. He sent a decree to Zheng Daoxin and the patrolling Yang Soul disciples, telling them to carefully guard the formation while he went out to scout. When he arrived at a valley, he saw quite a few cultivators resting in the formation around the valley. Some of the longevity cultivators were directly resting on the ground. Xianhuang's 6 Paths Pagoda suddenly appeared in his divine aperture. Master, I sense the demonic chi. It's a very powerful big goblin. Among the 77 junior commanders, none of the big goblin has its strength. Even the sky-covering monster is no match for it. The Leech King is also far from it. It's much stronger than Shu Shui and Dao Wuliang. As soon as he arrived at the valley, he confirmed that the demonic chi wasn't here. He let Xianhuang release its power to sense. After cooperating, he roughly determined the demonic chi's location. After passing through a mountain range, there was another valley below. Xianhuang was sure that the demonic chi was in this valley. Sensing carefully, he combined his perfection stage ability with Xianhuang's 6 Paths Pagoda. Gradually, he arrived at the periphery of the valley. Behind a big tree, he saw a sneaky figure. As he sensed closer, he heard the figure's cold laughter. So many fatties. There's a saying among the humans that 9 out of 10 fatties are rich. Su Fong didn't make a move. There were quite a few cultivators around, but they still didn't know the big goblin's background. After a while, the figure openly came to the valley. Su Fong also walked over from the other side. After carefully sizing him up, he was a young man. His skin was tender and white, like a newborn baby. There were many strange things about this man. For example, he was bald, had a small belly, and had a fierce body, especially his ears. The base of his ears was actually pink. It looked very obvious, but if one looked carefully, one would be able to see that half of his ears were pink. "Brother, I have good news for you. Are you interested?" The pink-eared man sat down beside a few very powerful cultivators. After resting for a while, he found a powerful middle-aged man who was hiding his cultivation. He was at the first level of the catastrophe realm. After approaching him, he tried to chat with him. The middle-aged man was well-built. He had a medium build, but his strength was indeed at the catastrophe realm. The middle-aged man wasn't interested. In such a dangerous place, he couldn't casually trust a person. Who would have thought that the pink-eared man would take out an undying flower? Moreover, it was an undying flower that had reached the catastrophe realm. The middle-aged man glanced at it and was clearly attracted by the flower. This was a spirit treasure that was of great help to catastrophe realm powerhouses. That place had a total of 4 or 5 catastrophe realm undying flowers. However, there were several ice monsters guarding it. I was only lucky enough to obtain one. If you and I join forces, there's a high chance we'll obtain a few more. Why don't you find someone else with such a good thing? Because brother's strength has reached the catastrophe realm, similar to mine. If you find someone weak, you won't be able to obtain the treasure. If you find someone strong, I'm afraid they'll kill me after obtaining the treasure. I can only be at ease if I find someone like brother with strength comparable to mine. It's not impossible for you to cooperate with me, but I can't trust you out of thin air. Unless you give me this undying flower and leave it with me temporarily, I won't have come here in vain." The pink-eared man was reluctant. After hesitating for a while, he finally nodded. He carefully handed the undying flower to the old man. When the old man took it and revealed a greedy smile, the pink-eared man also sneered. "Master, that undying flower contains a strange demonic poison. It's a pity that the moment that catastrophe realm powerhouse touched the undying flower, he was unknowingly poisoned. And the longer he touches the undying flower, the deeper the poison will be." Hearing their conversation, he carefully watched the entire process. While Sufang was pondering, Rakshasa Yu Chumping also reminded him. A demon. It was truly cunning. How could it give away a catastrophe realm undying flower to an outsider for nothing? Thinking about it, there was definitely some trick involved. Unfortunately, that middle-aged man needed this spirit treasure too much and couldn't win against his greed. The two quickly left the mountain range. Sufang quietly followed behind. Using his perfection realm strength, the human and demon were unable to escape his pursuit. 2 hours later, they arrived at a glacier in the depths. Under the glacier, there was an inconspicuous opening. In front of a crack in the glacier that could only fit 2 people. The pink-eared man whispered, "Brother, how many years has this glacier been covered for?" From the outside, it looks like a glacier, but inside, it's a canyon that's covered. It wasn't easy for me to find this place by accident. Carefully sense it. Is the aura coming from the opening carrying the scent of the undying flower? The chubby middle-aged man thought for a moment and looked coldly at the other party. It is indeed the aura of the undying flower. We agreed beforehand that we would split the undying flower in half. If you don't keep your promise, then I won't be polite to you. Chapter 478. The pink-eared man's bald head suddenly flashed a circle of light. I'm a man of my word. Naturally, we'll split the undying flower. The demonic aura inside is overwhelming. You and I have to be very careful. Let's go. The fat cultivator was bold. In order to obtain the undying flower and improve his cultivation, even if it was a demon's cave, he was willing to break in. The two entered the ice crack. After 3 breaths, a figure flashed and used the great perfection stage ability. He was surprised. What a strong demonic aura. It's hidden under the perfect ice layer. It's definitely the big goblin's dojo. Xin Wang said, "Master, this big goblin is estimated to have the strength of a high-level calamity realm expert. The aura of the spiritual pearl in its body is still strong. It's also a giant monster that has survived countless years. Are you confident in suppressing it? Hee, I'm confident in dealing with this big goblin. Besides, Xian Huang has recovered to the 9th level. It's just a little bit away from reaching the peak. At that time, it will perfectly merge with Master. Even if it's a Dao Zhun Fox Mother or Old Toad Immortal, it can be suppressed. Xian Huang is the nemesis of demons. Can you tell what kind of demon it is from the demonic aura? Violent, murderous, and shocking internal blood and resentment. It's not an ordinary demon. I can only see most of its strength. As for how powerful it is, I'll have to fight it to know. However, it's qualified to be a junior commander, or even a senior commander. Hearing Xian Huang's 6 Paths Pagoda's rough analysis, Su Fong was very confident and quietly entered the ice crack. The interior was indeed a canyon sealed by ice. It was estimated to be 5 miles deep. There were some giant trees that had not been frozen to death. Moreover, the spiritual aura was very rich. In addition to the spiritual aura, there was also violent demonic aura. Using the Great Perfection stage ability, he could clearly hear the 2 people's breathing coming from a mile ahead. There are indeed several undying flowers. I'm afraid the strength of the demons here is extraordinary. I'm not very sure. In short, the last time I came here, I successfully took one, and then I was chased by several demons. I was lucky to escape. The 2 talked in private. After Su Fong heard the movement, he flew to the top of the tree and approached the center of the canyon from the sky. A fiery demonic aura was slowly rising from the center of the canyon. His perfect vision allowed him to see through the demonic chi. In the center of the demonic chi was a cauldron made of spirit stones that looked like a furnace. There were a few corpses around it, and the flowers of immortality bloomed on the corpses. Indeed, every single one of them was an undying flower at the height of the catastrophe realm. Any one of those flowers could help a tribulation expert break through to the next level, or help him face the 9 cycles life-seizing tribulation. There are actually a few cultivators who are still breathing inside the furnace. Their life auras are disappearing as if they're being sucked away by some kind of power. The abilities of Great Perfection paragons were truly amazing. Even from a distance of 1 kilometer, they could still see everything clearly. Black-yellow. Sneak in the sky and wait for my orders before ambushing that pink-eared man. I wonder if there's still a big goblin here. He released the Xian Huang's 6 Paths Pagoda and shrunk it to the size of a finger. Then it traveled through the forest along with the cold air. Su Fong slowly approached, getting closer and closer to the 2 masters. Demonic poison. Suddenly, the fat middle-aged cultivator's exclamation came from the front. Su Fong arrived at the top of the tree and looked over. It turned out that not far from the center of the demonic aura, the fat middle-aged cultivator's body was emitting a shocking amount of demonic poison. Moreover, it had formed a sealing formation with the poison gas around it. It turned out that the pink-eared man had already prepared everything. Not only had he planted the demonic poison in advance, but he had also buried a poison formation in the canyon. The pink-eared man suddenly flew out and activated the poison formation, causing the demonic poison to become even stronger. Ha! Demonic aura. You're a big goblin. Damn it. Only now did the fat middle-aged cultivator realize the pink-eared man's true identity. Under the pressure of the demonic poison and the formation, he opened his mouth and spat out a high-grade flying sword. The flying sword quality was very good. It was like a sword light that suddenly stabbed towards the pink-eared man. Pung! The fat cultivator's strength was already very strong. Adding on a high-grade flying sword, his attack power was almost comparable to a 5th-level catastrophe expert at such a close distance. After all, the power of a high-grade flying sword could reach the peak of the catastrophe realm. The pink-eared man's defensive aura blocked the flying sword, but he was forced back several steps. His Taoist robe was suddenly torn apart, and his muscles constantly swelled. Moreover, his body flashed with a shocking demonic aura and the luster of magic treasures. ZZZ, the pink-eared man, who was originally an ordinary human, suddenly grew 10 feet taller. His arms and legs were thicker than an elephant's legs. His body was covered with half-foot-long black hair, and his muscles were as terrifying as iron. Demon. This was a human-shaped big goblin. Its lower body was like a human's, but its head was a demon's head. Pig demon. Su Fong was so shocked that he kept blinking his eyes. It turned out that the big goblin was a pig demon with a human body and a pig's head. He never expected to encounter such a demon. He had seen many snake demons, bear demons, and so on, but this was the first time he saw a pig demon. When he looked at the pig demon again, its body was still changing. It was covered in armor, and there was a snow-white skull on each of its shoulders. There were bony hands tied to its waist, and its feet were similar to cow hooves. The pig demon's head was round, and its nose was facing the sky. 2 curved fangs grew out of its mouth, and its pair of demon eyes were suffused with a violent, bloody light. The 2 most different parts of it were its head and ears. When it transformed into its human form, the pig demon was bald, but now it had thin white hair that looked like braids that hung loosely on its head. Other than the white hair, there were also the pig demon's ears. The pair of ears were half a foot higher than the top of its head. Compared to its dark skin, its ears were incomparably pink, like the skin of a baby, and even a little translucent. There was very little white on its bald head, a pair of pink big ears that were higher than the top of its head, and a round belly. It was really a strange pig demon. It was also a big fat pig that was covered in fat. "You're a beast, stupid pig." The fat cultivator was scared out of his wits. When he saw the pig demon, he hurriedly controlled the flying sword that was hovering above and shot out another meteor towards the pig demon. The fat pig demon also took out a large crescent blade. It turned out that it was also a superior grade Dharma artifact. However, it did not fuse with the saber. It directly used the hardness of the saber to slash at the flying sword. This is this king's training ground. After being poisoned by this king's demonic poison, how long can you last? Clang! The flying sword was knocked away. This was a fused flying sword, but it was still knocked away by the pig demon's unfused saber. What did this mean? The pig demon had unparalleled divine power. Just by using the hardness of the saber, it was able to release such powerful divine power. The fat cultivator was so scared that he wanted to run away, but the demonic poison all over his body combined with the surrounding poison formation made it impossible for him to fly away. He could only run for his life step by step. The flying sword tangled with the pig demon and attacked it again and again. However, after half an incense stick's time, the fat cultivator's body began to rot. His skin turned black, and some black hair grew out. It seemed like he was turning into a pig demon. This king's demonic poison is not ordinary. As long as you're infected by it, your body will be devoured by the demonic poison. Then, this king's blood essence poison will change your life essence. The most important thing for humans is essence. We demons also like essence from humans the most. The pig demon said proudly, "Stop struggling. Escape." The fat cultivator was unwilling to give up and took out his young nascent soul. The young nascent soul was more than a foot tall. After flying out, it controlled the flying sword to release a storm of sword light. Heaven-devouring roar. The pig demon's arms shook, and its body half-arched like a wolf. It opened its mouth and spat out a blood-colored pig that was a few dozen feet long. The giant pig was its divine ability. It opened its mouth and bit down on the sword light storm. With a boom, the storm was torn apart by the giant pig's bite. What a powerful pig demon! Qian Wang, suppress. The pig demon had just used its divine ability, but before it could stand up, a light flashed above it. 2-2. A 6-story gold and silver pagoda suddenly grew from a few dozen feet tall to 100 feet tall and attacked the pig demon. A human actually snuck in. The pig demon's reaction was too shocking. However, it was already unable to dodge. It stared at the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. It's even a King Grade Dharma artifact. It's specially made to counter the King Grade Dharma artifacts of my demon race. Wrath of the Demon God. There were still 5 feet left. Just as the pig demon was about to be suppressed, the pig demon waved its hand and grabbed at the furnace. An electric snake flashed in its hand, and a blood-colored whip appeared in its hand. Bang! The whip turned into a disc and blocked the pig demon's head. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda pressed down on it, and the pig demon was forced to fall a few dozen feet. However, the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda's power was blocked by the blood-colored whip. Su Fong was extremely shocked. That's not an ordinary Dharma artifact. It's a Tao artifact. Ha! The pig demon spewed out a heaven-defying, murderous aura. The blood-colored whip suddenly unfolded, and a strange blood-colored, demonic aura emerged. Come back. The flaming cloud wings swept over in midair. Su Fong stepped out with the heaven-conquering divine steps and waved his hand. Whoosh! The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda immediately flew over and disappeared in his palm. What a despicable human. You actually used such an extraordinary Dharma artifact to sneak attack this king. The pig demon spat out saliva angrily. Its muscles were trembling. The blood-colored whip in its hand seemed to be alive and was about to attack Su Fong. Swish! A burning demonic aura pierced through the air. In the blink of an eye, the pig demon had blocked the exit. You let your grandpa pig eat a mouthful of anger. Don't even think about escaping. Escape? I don't plan on escaping. The pig demon was so heavy, but its speed was extremely fast. Xianhuang appeared in his divine aperture. Master, this subordinate seems to have some impression of this pig demon, but I'm not sure. Only when I fought with experts did I feel its true strength. I'm afraid it has already reached the peak of the Calamity Realm. It also has an extraordinary Tao artifact in its hand. Fortunately, this subordinate didn't use its full strength. What kind of monster is it? It had a Tao artifact. Furthermore, it was not an ordinary Tao artifact, but a demonic artifact from the devil race. In the true text that this subordinate refined, there were many records about the devil race's monsters left behind by the refiner. There are very few pig demons in the world. There is only one bloodline, called the Maju. The Maju is an ancient vicious beast, and also an ancient divine beast. Just like the ape and dog that we encountered in the past, it is also an ancient mutated giant demon. The Maju is usually in a large world or in the myriad worlds. It is almost impossible for a Maju to appear in a small world. Xianhuang said in surprise. Maju, what a strange devil race. Human, let's see how your grandpa pig will tear you apart. No, this king will not tear you apart. He will suck you alive until only your bones are left. The giant pig demon put away its blood-red whip and shouted coldly. To deal with a young soul cultivator like you, there is no need for this king's devil god's wrath. Su Fong felt that the pig demon was very interesting. This was a battle of strength. He asked indifferently, You are an ancient vicious beast. This king is an ancient vicious beast. Could it be that you know my origin? The pig demon's expression changed slightly. You are a Maju vicious beast. You know this king's origin? The pig demon was shocked and looked at Su Fong as a monster. Clearly, it could see that a human had no reason to know its origin. The pig demon fiercely asked, Could it be that the origin spirit of your king-grade magic artifact told you? It must be so. That origin spirit has the power to restrain my devil race. It must have a certain understanding of the devil race. Yes, the Maju vicious beast's muscles swelled, and a murderous aura burned in its eyes. That's good. This king will not let you go. If you know this king's origin, if it spreads, the humans will cut me into pieces. Chapter 479. Su Fong gradually activated the seal, releasing his true chi and aura. I also want to see how strong you are, and then I'll think about how to deal with you. Even a cultivator in the catastrophe realm would be scared to death in front of this king. You're just an ant in the first stage of the Yang Soul realm. How dare you ignore this king just because you have a king-grade artifact? You have a king-grade artifact, but I have an extraordinary Tao artifact. Whether it's strength or artifact, This king will definitely defeat you. Bang! Bang! Good timing. I want to see how much of a difference there is between you and me at the peak of Calamity Realm. Crown Prince Shui is probably at the same height. He released the seal on his body. His fleshly body in the great circle ignited, and his true energy and fleshly body surged with God power. God power poured into his right arm, and with the help of the ruler heaven god step, sparks flew everywhere. Bang! His fist collided with the huge fist of the ferocious Pygma beast. It was like a steel knife against a steel knife. Bang! 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 In a breath. Su Fang's weak fist, along with the demon Qi, was shaken back by the divine power. Humans shouldn't have such divine power. On the other side, the ferocious pig horse beast no longer ignored its opponent like before. It approached Su Fang step by step from within the flames, and was especially surprised. Furthermore, you're only at the first stage of the young infant realm. Logically speaking, under this king's fist, even if you have divine power, you should have been instantly smashed into meat paste. However, only spurted out blood. This king knows. Since ancient times, humans have always been the weakest among the creatures in the world, standing at the bottom of the food chain. Even today, most of the cultivators are still food in front of the demon race. Only the body refinement cultivators in the ancient legends, those human cultivators, didn't focus on cultivation. Instead, they pursued the pinnacle of the physical body. In the end, they cultivated a perfect physical body. Bang! Bang! Su Fang, who was controlling his body, was shocked when he heard this. How can a monster know so much about human cultivators? Do you think that demons don't know how to cultivate? Do you think that only humans are pursuing the path of immortality? The ferocious beast said proudly. The demons, you know, are the most lowly existences, just like the mortals among you humans. High-level demons are immortal beasts, divine beasts, and ancient beasts. They all know how to cultivate. Humans can create cultivation methods. Why can't demons do the same? Although I'm a ferocious beast, but in ancient times, I was also a divine beast. It's just that humans are used to calling us divine beasts, so you don't know the innate abilities of divine beasts. Our memories can be passed down from generation to generation through the divine blood in our bodies. So, even though I'm in a small world, I still know many cultivation secrets. Bang! 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 After hearing these words, Su Fang's body and mind were greatly impacted. It turned out that he had never known about the monster race. Why would I waste my breath on a dead man like you? I'm only telling you this because you've inherited the ancient path of cultivation. Once I devour your body, I'll become even stronger. One day, I'll go to the great world and spread the might of the Pygma god race. The Pygma god race's eyes shone with a ferocious light. Bang! Su Fang smiled seriously. I made up my mind. I'm going to suppress you and make you my commander. Haha. It's impossible for humans to suppress any of my calamities. Furthermore, you're just a young soul cultivator. Take out that royal-grade magical item of yours. Let's see how this king will use the demon god's fury to tear your broken pagoda to pieces. Is that so? Su Fang was already using the origin sacred mirror. Bang! Bang! The bang! Bang! His divine fist was invincible, and his aura was like a huge mountain falling from the sky. Bang! 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 A huge amount of green, evil, primordial fire poured out like a waterfall and covered the ferocious Pygma beast, trapping it within. However, the ferocious Pygma beast's skin was so thick that it only felt a sense of fear. The green, evil, primordial fire could not cause any damage to it. Bang! In fact, why is there another power that can suppress the monster race? The ferocious Pygma beast felt that something was wrong, but it didn't care. You human, you want to use that pagoda against me again? How many times have I told you? Unless you have a Tao artifact, no Dharma treasure from the mortal realm can do anything to me. You're an ancient beast. Bang! Su Fang laughed so hard that his eyebrows narrowed into a line. Bang! In the blink of an eye, the ferocious Pigma beast was entangled. Bang! Bang! Within the red light, the ferocious Pigma beast finally panicked. It unleashed its aura as if it was facing a great enemy. However, it was soon unable to move. No amount of aura could shake the red light. Bang! 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 Who are you? How can a young soul stage 1 human have such power? Bang! 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 Su Fong replied calmly. Don't you have a Tao artifact? Why don't you give it a try? You're courting death. Wrath of the demon god. Even the wrath of the demon god is afraid of your power. Bang! 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 You! The ferocious Pigma beast didn't want to be trapped in such a dangerous situation. It started to struggle and used all kinds of methods, but it was unable to form any seals because its body couldn't move. Bang! 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 Why can't I use my Tao artifact? Why can't I use my demon god body? Why can't I use my demon god body? Why can't I use my demon god body? Because this magical treasure of mine can shackle any greater demon, as well as any magical treasure. Because it surpasses all magical treasures that are inferior to it will become obedient before its might. Your demon divinity's wrath is indeed powerful and not an ordinary Tao item, but is still far inferior to my magical treasure. Do you have any other moves? Bang! 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 I can kill you right now, suppress you, or torture you for the rest of your life. That's one of the possible outcomes for you. Another outcome is to become my commander. I won't make you a slave, and I'll let you cultivate. But in the future, you'll have to be my helper. Once I'm strong enough, I'll return your freedom to you. That's because I'm only at the first stage of the Yang Soul realm. You can see how insignificant I am in this world. Su Fong was very direct and clear. This king is an ancient vicious beast. His position in the demon race is very high. Bang! 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 Su Fong's expression hardened. Thinking that he didn't have much time, he said, I can turn you into a roasted pig. I've already suppressed many demons, but none of them are obedient. They all want to struggle and endure pain before they submit to me. Do you want to try it too? I don't mind. Once I do it, you'll submit to me and become my slave. If you agree now, at least we'll still have a relationship of cooperation. You have to give me some benefits. If you don't give this king some benefits, I won't be able to eat or drink well with you. What's the point? Bang! A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. It was still an ancient vicious beast. Even if it was reduced to a chicken coop, it wasn't a weak chicken. That's not a problem. I want to absorb the essence of humans alive, so you have to give me a lot of humans to cultivate with. I'm a human, so I can't do that. But I have immortal blood and endless resources. In the future, when I kill strong enemies, I'll give you their corpses. How about it? I also have many medicinal pills, including the life-seizing recreating pill. Deal! Su Fong was startled. He didn't know how to react. When he looked again, he couldn't believe that he was negotiating with a pig. He sighed. Everyone says that pigs have brains, but pigs aren't stupid at all. Except my Yuan spirit imprint. Chi. With a flick of his finger, a special imprint shot out from the red light towards the ferocious pig. The ferocious Pigma beast didn't resist. In fact, it couldn't resist. The primordial spirit imprint shot into its forehead, and the red light instantly disappeared. Look at this. Su Fong grabbed a drop of the ice-sealing king's blood. Bang! Su Fong was generous enough to give it to him. The ferocious Pigma beast returned to its chubby human form. Its bald head was shiny. After swallowing the immortal's blood, it actually looked younger. It was only a few years older than Su Fongda. It reached out its hand greedily. Give me some more. I'm only letting you know the benefits, but you haven't given me any benefits yet. Once you've made a contribution in the future, there will be plenty of fresh blood. Su Fong looked down at the expert who was about to be killed by the demonic poison. Capture that person. Chi. The pig demon flashed back, carrying the fat cultivator who had been infected by the demonic poison. For Calamity's stage slaves too. It was directly sucked into the dark yellow space and arrived in front of the pig demon fire furnace. You've harmed a lot of humans. Su Fong shook his head as he looked at the human cultivators in the furnace who could no longer be saved. Nature, the nature of demons. These few human cultivators can't even compare to a few drops of immortal essence blood. There was no pity in the pig demon's eyes. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. With a wave of his hand, several undying flowers became Su Fong's possessions. Su Fong thought for a moment. Enter my pagoda. This pagoda is about to become my life-bound magic treasure. You can absorb any energy inside, but you can't appear beside me all the time. Also, I need to give you a name. The ferocious pygma beast said, this king already has a name. His surname is Zhu, and his name is Huang. Zhu Huang. You humans have an emperor, so this king is the emperor of the demon race. Zhu Huang, pig emperor. In the end, he was still a pig. Laughing uncontrollably, he sucked Zhu Huang into the profound yellow space and gave it a drop of immortal essence blood. It was much easier to deal with the powerful big goblin. Chapter 480. He then searched the Vermilion Emperor training grounds for a while and picked any useful spirit herbs. When he returned to the main camp, the disciples were all cultivating peacefully. While cultivating, the Vermilion Emperor needed more immortal essence blood from the newly subdued wild pygma. Vermilion Emperor, you're so strong, but you can't absorb enough immortal essence blood. Su Fong was afraid of the wild pygma's ability. Immortal essence blood was something that both humans and demons would find hard to control. But the Vermilion Emperor could refine a drop of immortal essence in just a few days. This speed had even surpassed his own. This king is an ancient mutated beast. His body contains the divine power of mutated beasts. He can refine immortal energy. The Vermilion Emperor wasn't polite at all. Su Fong gave him a drop of blood. First, get used to the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. There are 77 minor commanders in front of you. You are now the Grand Commander. There was once a Grand Commander here, the Peng race's Green Feather King. You actually suppressed the Peng race's big goblin. The Vermilion Emperor trembled. The Peng race is a true divine race. In the ancient era, countless human emperors fought throughout the universe and established the primal chaos world. But the Peng race is mostly in the myriad worlds. There are also some in the greater worlds, but the Peng race shouldn't appear in the lesser worlds. I'm not too sure about that either. In short, as the Grand Commander, you have to lead many minor commanders in cultivation. You also have to fuse with the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. In the future, your magic power and that of the minor commanders will be added to my body, allowing me to fight against unparalleled experts. So that's how it is. Don't misuse the demon god's fury. If you attack my Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda, that is my life-bound magic treasure. Although it hasn't reached the Grand Ascension stage, it can't take a heavy blow. If you have any ill intentions, I will burn you into a suckling pig. Of course not, of course not. I, a pig demon, always keep my word. The Vermilion Emperor thought about how Su Fong had even more terrifying magic treasures and could only be honest. What do you know about the Forbidden Snow Forest? Are there any powerful big goblins or treasures in the depths of the forest? This king knows quite a bit. There are quite a few big goblins like this king. There are at least over 100 of them. They are scattered in the forest. The cold chi is water. Extreme Een stones are formed from the essence of the forbidden snow forest frigid chi. Although they're called spirit stones, they're actually spirit stones. Even a small piece of a frigid chi spirit stone can be used to help cultivators or greater demons cultivate frigid chi techniques. It can also be used to attack, suppress fire-type divine abilities, or even aid in the cultivation of a young soul. The ancient spirit fireflies are truly treasures among treasures. I heard that there is a special seal in a certain space under the forbidden snow forest. The ancient spirit fireflies came out of that sealed space. They are a kind of spirit insect. Although they are small, they have many abilities. For example, they can be used to cleanse their marrow, controlling the ancient spirit fireflies to open their meridians and then using their blood to nourish them, they can become offensive treasures. Furthermore, the ancient spirit fireflies have the ability to sense life auras. If you can obtain this kind of spirit beast, you won't be able to escape from powerful enemies. Ice spirit water, extreme stone, ancient spirit fireflies. All of them were treasures, especially the last two. The ice spirit water was indescribably useful to Su Fong. It was the perfect spirit water to refine the yang, strengthening pill, and the life-seizing recreating pill. The extreme stone could be used to cultivate the jade heaven ice mysterious art, and could be placed in the divine aperture to help a yang soul cultivate. The ancient spirit fireflies were even more wondrous. Su Fong's perception was shocking, but he didn't have the ancient spirit firefly's ability to sense life auras. After thinking for a moment, Su Fong asked, "These three treasures aren't easy to obtain, right?" The ice spirit water is the easiest to obtain, but you also have to go deeper. You have to go to those ice springs and wait for them to erupt. There are many powerful big goblin and human experts fighting over it. If you don't have the strength, you can only rely on luck to obtain the ice spirit water. The extreme stone is even deeper. It can only be found in the ice rivers and ice rocks beneath the ice world. There are many big goblin entrenched in those places, and there are also humans searching for treasures there. The cold chi is also very terrifying. It can freeze a cultivator's true chi and then freeze them there. They will die, but their corpses will remain there forever. As for the space where the ancient spirit fireflies are, no one can pinpoint their exact location. Sometimes, one or two ancient spirit fireflies will appear, and they will be obtained by cultivators with good fortune. Many righteous Tao factions and devils from the Snow Wind continent are searching below. There are also factions from the Crimson Firmament continent, the Starfish continent, the Devil King continent, and so on. And deep below, there are several giant demons, even stronger than this king. For example, the 9-segment Earth Dragon and the Ice Silkworm Demon Sovereign are the giant demons of the Forbidden Snow Forest. These two giant demons are dozens of times stronger than this king. If any expert from the Zhuotian world comes, they won't be able to easily suppress them. Are the Dao True Fox Mother, Old Immortal Toad, and the Sky Drill Rat Emperor stronger, or the 9-segment Earth Dragon and the Ice Silkworm Demon Sovereign stronger? You also know about the Dao True Fox Mother, the Sky Drill Rat Emperor, and the Old Immortal Toad. That's right, you mentioned the Peng race's Green Feather King. This king has a bit of an impression of him. In the past, he was indeed a big goblin whose name shook the Zhuotian world. But later on, there was no news of him. In short, this king can tell you that these big goblins might be a bit different in strength, but when they use their abilities, they are all unable to do anything to each other. The Vermilion Emperor mentioned another two peerless big goblins. It was no wonder the Forbidden Snow Forest was the Snow Wind continent's most terrifying natural stronghold. Su Fong beamed. Then let's work together. If we get any treasures, we'll split them equally. How about it? The Vermilion Emperor was embarrassed. Hee, you're taking advantage of this king. This king's strength is profound, and he also understands this place. Of course he'll get more treasures. Why don't you give those 4 Calamity Realm human trash to this king? Oh, releasing his young nascent soul, the Vermilion Emperor happened to see the 4 Calamity Realm slaves in another space. No matter where the Vermilion Emperor went, he had to keep an eye on the humans. That won't do. Right now, I'm lacking slaves to refine pills. Moreover, these 4 are all Calamity Realm cultivators. They can also use their magic power to support me and help me deal with strong enemies. Furthermore, I'm planning to temporarily let these 4 run errands for you, to help you obtain treasures in this Forbidden Snow Forest. At most, I'll give you more Immortal Blood Essence after the matter is done. Tell me the truth. Where did you get the Immortal Blood Essence? Xinjia Gate. You've been to Xinjia Gate and obtained treasures from it. This king has also entered it. But in the outer space, he couldn't find any treasures. He was even nearly chased by human experts and forced into the deeper layers of the Immortal Formation. In short, the Immortal Blood Essence is enough for you and me to cultivate for many years. When I have enough strength in the future, I'll try Shinja Gate again. There are many immortals inside. I've seen them before. Haha. Then this king is willing to work for you. Give me some blood in advance. It seemed like he had met a beggar. Furthermore, he was begging for food and had no choice but to give it to him. There was no choice. The Vermilion Emperor was an ancient mutated beast. In the future, he would grow into a peerless big goblin. Such a monster couldn't be forcefully suppressed. He had to think of other ways to deal with him. I have quite a few immortal fruits here. He thought of other ways. Compared to the icebound king's blood, he had quite a few treasures. Immortal fruits. How many immortal fruits had he obtained? There should be at least 10,000 of them. After obtaining a few immortal fruits, the Vermilion Emperor actually transformed into a huge black scarlet boar in the profound yellow space. It burned its demonic chi and opened its mouth to swallow an immortal fruit. ZZZ, after swallowing the immortal fruit, its demonic chi burned even more fiercely. The Vermilion Emperor knelt down in pain and slowly assimilated the power of the immortal fruit. Monster, with just one bite, he directly swallowed the immortal fruit. One had to know that Su Fong had also cut the immortal fruit into countless pieces and assimilated them piece by piece. Only then could he melt the immortal fruit in a short period of time. It seemed that the Vermilion Emperor would need quite a bit of time to digest the effects. Su Fong took out some marrow-cleansing pills and gave them to the 4 Catastrophe Realm slaves to continue recovering from their injuries. After resting for about 5 days, he gave the order and led over 100 disciples to continue onward. On the other side of the forest, in a glacier, swish, 2 middle-aged men stood on flying swords and directly flew into the forest from the edge of the storm. They floated in the air above the glacier, emitting killing intent. Since the Crown Prince asked us to help, it means that this cultivator called Fong Yu isn't simple. Just kill him. We need a rising star like the Crown Prince. If he can become the leader of the Immortal Sealing Sect, then we'll have a huge ally. Even if he can't become the leader, the future Crown Prince will be very strong. How many people in the 8 Directions minor worlds will be his match? Let's split up. We have to find this person. Let's contact the Crown Prince first and let him know that we've arrived at the Forbidden Snow Forest. Buzz. The 2 experts worked together to activate a rune talisman. About half an incense sticks time. Prince Shue's voice came from the rune talisman. Brothers, I'm really sorry for making the 2 of you come all the way from the Xinyuan Empire to the Zhuotian domain. What is the Crown Prince saying? You've helped us a lot in the Divine Origin planet, allowing us to gain a foothold in front of the prince. And I won't be polite. This Fong Yu is currently at the 1st stage of the Yang Soul Realm, and his strength is between the 8th and 10th stages of the Catastrophe Realm. If the 2 of you want to kill him, then you have to launch a surprise attack and deal a heavy blow within a few moves. If he doesn't notice, then you can easily kill him in 1 move. Brother Shue, we thought that the person you wanted us to kill was someone as strong as you, but it turned out to be a Yang Soul cultivator. The 2 of you should be careful, because this person is also a sovereign Dao disciple of the Immortal Sealing Sect. I can't do it myself. We understand. Brother Shue, don't worry. After the 2 finished speaking, they sealed the rune talisman. Swish! The 2 experts prepared for a while and suddenly split up, flying towards the depths of the Forbidden Snow Forest. In the depths of the forest, they were getting closer and closer to the central forest. Su Fong was leading over 100 disciples on a journey for several days. They flew past layer after layer of forest, but they didn't encounter any danger. When some cultivators saw that it was the Immortal Sealing Sect, they consciously gave up on other thoughts. 2 Yang Soul disciples flew over. Senior apprentice brother, we met a disciple of the Eternal Spring Immortal Sealing Sect. He said that the Night Spirit cult appeared in front of us and killed over a dozen cultivators. They are currently searching for us, so they want us to change direction. Night Spirit cult. After Su Fong gave the order, all the disciples flew to the right. But after passing through several layers of snow, the air was filled with the smell of blood. After a while, The disciples saw several corpses with their hearts gouged out. Those cultivators had died with their hearts gouged out. They had died while still alive. Everyone, be extremely careful. Whether it's a righteous path faction or an unfamiliar cultivator, don't let down your guard. When Su Fong saw the corpses, it was as if he saw the night spirit cult's experts nearby, secretly eyeing the immortal sealing sect disciples. It's the immortal sealing sect's disciples. There are over 100 of them, but not a single one is in the catastrophe realm. As expected, in the distant forest, a snow-white figure suddenly appeared from the snow. Chapter 481. The snow-white figure turned out to be a young woman. However, his body was pale, and he looked like a walking corpse. After the woman formed the hand seal, a Xian Guang appeared between her eyebrows. A cold order came from the Xian Guang. The sect needs a large number of hearts to perform a sacrifice. Since the Celestial Sealing Gate's disciples are weak, I will immediately send the surrounding disciples over. Follow them for now. Yes, Altar Master. After receiving the order, the woman released the aura of the medallion at her waist and followed the disciples of the Celestial Sealing Gate closely. At night, swish, swish. In the dark night, black-robed people flew over one after another. They met up with the woman in a forest. More and more people appeared, and from their attire, it was easy to tell that they were night spirit followers. Lord Vice Altar Master. A cloaked old man was greeted by more than 50 night spirit cult experts who bowed to him. The old man said, I've already carefully sensed the Celestial Sealing Sect's disciples. They are indeed a group of longevity stage and young soul stage disciples. That's great. The branch altar needs a large number of hearts. Even the hearts of the weak will be of great use. While the Celestial Sealing Sect's disciples are resting, we should immediately surround them and activate the poison cloud formation. Understood. Most of the 50-plus experts were in the catastrophe realm. Like black wasps, they swarmed over. There's movement. An icy valley a few miles away, the formation enveloped the valley. Su Fong, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly heard a faint sweeping sound surrounding the snowy valley. Not normal. Disciples, listen up. There's a group of experts approaching the base. No matter what happens, you can't leave the formation. Everyone, work together and use the formation's power to resist the external attacks. Using his young infant, he instantly transmitted his voice to every disciple who was resting. What happened? Something big is happening. Disciples like Qian Huanyun sprang to their feet. After he finished speaking, he sensed that the young soul disciple was waiting in the formation to activate the defense. Having made up his mind, he left the formation and arrived in the air above the forest. Vermilion Emperor, I'm the person in charge of the Celestial Sealing Sect's training this time. I can't let any of my disciples die. I'll let you out now. Let's kill the experts hiding in the surroundings. I reckon they're all evil disciples of the Night Spirit cult. If you want to eat them, I won't stop you. Great. The Vermilion Emperor appeared in an instant, and he looked like he was sharpening his blade to attack pigs and sheep. Don't be careless. Most of these people are Calamity Realm experts. Although they're all weak, there's strength in numbers. Furthermore, they're from an evil sect, so they're naturally good at using poison and such. This king's demonic poison is his innate ability. How can humans surpass this king? It's up to you, Brother Zhu, to kill these people. This king deals with the powerful ones, and you deal with the weak ones? Squint? Screen? Waves? Longing for a tent. Eo chia, gu de jean 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 disc. To copy whoosh, the Vermilion Emperor dodged. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. This fellow's divine strength is unrivaled. The Night Spirit cult is going to be in big trouble. After releasing the seal within his body and fully displaying the might of his source, sensing everything around him and fusing with his great perfection abilities, Su Fong's expression changed, because he sensed dozens of evil auras slowly approaching the snow valley. It seems like all of them are releasing poison gas. Good, use poison. Since I got the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle, I haven't used the 5 poison true chi properly. Boom! Unexpectedly, an earthquake-like explosion suddenly occurred in front of him. It's your brother Zhu. Hee hee, I killed 3 people in an instant. As promised, the corpses are mine. The Vermilion Emperor transmitted a thought from the big explosion. He was very proud. They're here. There was movement in that direction. The Night Spirit cult experts around the Snow Valley suddenly sped up. Master, the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle appeared in Su Fang's palm. Whoosh, 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 a large amount of 5 poison true chi flew out of the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle. The poisonous gas in the shape of the blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider, which were in the shape of 5 poisonous creatures, seemed to come alive. Under the release of the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle, they were like an army of 5 poisonous creatures, majestically attacking the experts of the Night Spirit cult below from the sky above the forest. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The 5 poison true chi army covered the snow-white forest within a mile in an instant. The poisonous gas was corroding and the ground was shaking. Su Fang, who was holding the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle, displayed his great perfection ability. With a cold smile, he fled into the forest with a whoosh. Passing through the dark clouds and poisonous gas, the poisonous gas couldn't do anything to Su Fang at all. When he approached the ground, he found a large number of 5 poison gas monsters besieging the 5 black-robed men. The 5 of them activated their flying swords and released poisonous gas, fighting the army of 5 poisonous creatures. Su Fang could be said to have truly witnessed the power of the 5 poison true chi. Although the blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider were in the form of poisonous gas, they were formed by a special power. Although they were shattered by the flying swords of the 5 experts, they quickly healed. This was all thanks to the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle. It was the controller of the entire 5 poison army. The 5 experts used all their strength, but were still unable to shatter the 5 poison true chi. Although they were catastrophe realm experts, the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle was far stronger than them. In addition to the uniqueness of the 5 poison true chi, no matter how powerful these Night Spirit cult experts were, they couldn't completely suppress the 5 poison true chi. If they couldn't suppress the 5 poison true chi, they would eventually be exhausted and killed by the poison. Rakshasa, you're in charge of the poisonous gas and entangle all the Night Spirit cult experts. Don't kill them, just entangle them. The Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle flew out of Su Fang's hands. Who knew? A black shadow suddenly attacked from behind in a strange manner. Pa pa pa. The Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle reacted in time and spat out a huge poisonous scorpion to block Su Fang's back. The black shadow hit the poisonous scorpion and shattered it. When it passed through the poisonous gas, not a trace of Su Fang could be seen. Su Fang gradually appeared in the poisonous gas on the left side, allowing the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle to continue to leave. He stared at the black-clothed person. It turned out to be an old man. You ambushed me. It was the vice-altar lord of the Night Spirit cult. The old man's face was gloomy and bloodless, like that of a dead man. I didn't expect you and a big goblin to be able to stop my Night Spirit cult. Humans like you're the favorite of my Night Spirit cult. My Night Spirit cult loves to collect, suppress, and take out your heart. Will make you die of pain. What an evil aura. This person is a living dead. He's so powerful to be able to shatter the poisonous gas released by the Rakshasa Jade Bear bottle in one move. Su Fang secretly stared at the old man, edgeless suddenly appearing in his hand. Whoosh, the old man also attacked in a strange manner. He opened his hand, and a large amount of evil, true chi transformed into sword chi. It had completely reached the peak of the catastrophe realm. Furthermore, Su Fang felt that it was much stronger than Prince Shui's. Bang! Edgeless attacked with boundless divine power, shattering the sword chi that was pressing down. Then, Edgeless stabbed at the old man's chest like a shooting star. Pa! The old man's aura shook Edgeless away, and he was also sent flying several meters away by the sword's divine power. I didn't expect a first-stage Yang soul cultivator like you to be able to control a king-grade spirit treasure with such ease. At first, I didn't understand why there wasn't a single catastrophe realm expert among the celestial sealing sect's disciples. So it was because of a disciple like you who was hiding your strength. Whoosh, whoosh. Executing the ruler's celestial steps, Su Fang's full-powered burst of power covered a distance of a few dozen feet. In the blink of an eye, he was already in front of the old man. The edgeless sword slashed out streaks of divine power. Divine power. So what if he was a peak catastrophe realm expert? Even if he didn't die, he would still be heavily injured. This was the power of a king-grade Dharma artifact. The divine power slashed out with countless attacks, forcing the old man to retreat. The old man's movement techniques were shocking, and his cultivation far surpassed Su Fang's. Even with Su Fang's king-grade Dharma artifact and speed, he couldn't harm the old man at all. The old man was still at ease. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, Su Fang had unleashed over 100 attacks, but not a single one was able to touch the old man's clothes. Huh! At this moment, a familiar demonic chi laughed and attacked from behind. Emperor Zhuhe was wearing white robes and had a big belly. He carried the corpse of a night spirit sect expert and charged to the back of the old man. I sensed an expert. Looks like it's you, you old, undying human. Su Fang made up his mind. Emperor Zhu, you've come at the right time. Let's work together to deal with this person. He should still have some powerful moves he hasn't used yet. Emperor Zhu glanced at the corpse, and his head suddenly turned into a pig's head. He opened his mouth and swallowed the corpse into his stomach. He touched his mouth and returned to his human form. This king has killed the others. There are only a dozen people left. Let's get rid of this old man first. Anyway, with the poisonous gas you control around, those people won't be able to destroy the immortal sealing sex formation. Vice Altar Lord, a few night spirit sect experts who have been severely injured by the 5-poison True Chi flew over and blocked in front of the old man. Before Su Fang could say anything, the Vermilion Emperor suddenly quickened his pace. His eyes sparkled. Little beauty, a little beauty that's as beautiful as a fairy. It turned out that one of them was a girl in white. She held her sword and shouted, "You pervert!" What pervert? I didn't expect you to be a perverted pig. He thought Emperor Zhu was going to attack, but he actually ran away after seeing a beauty. Su Fang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He wanted to stab him in the stomach. I'm not a pervert. Little beauty, call me Big Brother. Emperor Zhu stopped about 10 meters away from the girl in white and smiled while rubbing his bald head. Pervert scram. The girl in white shouted angrily. Why are you following the Night Spirit sect? What can they show you? They're all monsters that are neither dead nor alive. If you call me Big Brother Zhu has resources, pills, magic treasures. Big Brother Zhu has looks and money. The Zhu Emperor suddenly took a step forward with his right foot and used his hand to stroke the whip-like white hair on his head. Where can you find such a handsome brother like me? Brother will give you everything. Who knows, I might even give my body to you. Ayo! Apart from the old man, the girl in white, and the surrounding experts all felt their stomachs churn. More importantly, even Su Fang felt like something had fallen from his body. He felt light and cold. The woman in white regained her composure and stepped forward with a swift and fierce footwork. She grabbed a high-grade flying sword and thrust it forward. You pervert! Eat my sword! Bang! When her sword light arrived in front of the Vermilion Emperor, it was caught between 2 fingers. He stroked his hair once more. Little sister, think about it. Call me Big Brother. If anyone dares to kill you, I'll twist their head off. The girl in white slapped out a large amount of poison gas with her left hand. Squeak! But this poison gas was blocked by Emperor Zhu's body's instinctive defenses. Not only that, but this energy also contained Emperor Zhu's demon poison. The demon poison counterattacked and engulfed the girl in white. She let out a miserable scream. Kill! 2 experts charged at Emperor Zhu. Sword chi and poison gas fused together to form a large amount of astral chi. They wanted to directly crush Emperor Zhu to death. Oh, my little sister. Emperor Zhu suddenly saw that the girl in white was trapped by the demon poison. He immediately stretched out his hand, but unfortunately he was too slow. She was crushed to a pulp by his companion's astral chi. Chapter 482. The young girl had turned into minced meat on the ground. Pop had chi aura pressed down on the Vermilion Emperor, causing him to stagger under the chi aura. The experts were shocked. This big goblin is very powerful. He was not injured at all by our attacks. You killed this king's little sister. Today, I will bury all of you. At the edge of the chi aura, the Vermilion Emperor was not affected by the chi aura. He looked around. He had a pained expression. You guys killed the big goblin. I will kill this brat. The old man gave the order. The few of them pounced on the Vermilion Emperor. The Vice Altar Master stared at Su Fong. His eyes did not have any color, but a bright light suddenly burst out from them. It seemed like his gaze had changed, but there was no obvious attack. But for Su Fong, it was a different scene. Under the gaze of the young infant, a fierce young infant's aura pressed down on him. The surroundings seemed to be covered by dark clouds in an instant. Demonic disintegration seal. It turned out that the old man had directly used his young infant's attack. He wanted to use the powerful young infant's aura to kill Su Fong easily. He thought that Su Fong's young infant would be weak since he was only at the first stage and would not be able to withstand the attack of the Divine Might Thunder. Therefore, the young nascent soul's godly aura was now surging toward them. Even if Su Fong used the ruler's divine steps and fire cloud steps, he would not be able to escape the young infant's aura. In terms of speed, the young infant's aura was definitely above the physical body. The aura came. Defend. Under the activation of the demonic disintegration seal, a large number of young infants were separated from the divine aperture. Each young infant performed a seal and turned into a chain of seals that protected the divine aperture. Su Fong's young infant was inside the divine aperture. With a shout, countless figures flew out from the dark world around the divine aperture. The dark shadows filled the sky and turned into several layers of divine might defense. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh in front of him was the young infant's aura. It was like a storm, like a wave, with some haze and some golden xinguang. This was not the first time Su Fong had fought against a powerful young soul. Back on the Seven Stars Demon Island, he had encountered a powerful young soul like the Seven Stars Child, but he had still managed to kill his way out. Whoosh! In an instant, it was as if the world was about to be destroyed. To Su Fong's senses, the other party's young nascent soul was indeed powerful. Although it was not as powerful as Seven Star Child's young nascent soul, it was still more powerful than the young nascent souls of any of the Great Calamity Realm's young nascent souls. Within the scroll, the young nascent soul defense formed by the Heaven Devil unsealing seal was trembling. Even more of the figures within the defense were losing their luster, and it felt as if their minds were on the verge of collapse. A human, buzz buzz when there was no battle, the attacks were like a tsunami. But the young infant's divine might made everything in the world in his mind shake. In this state, Su Fong's young infant's defense was destroyed layer by layer. The young infant in the divine aperture was Su Fong's main essence soul. Because the outer young infant's defense was destroyed, the main essence soul's aura and luster were also weakened. It's time. True demon blood plate. Gap. Su Fong once again saw the gap between him and a catastrophe realm cultivator. With his current young infant, he would have turned into dust if it weren't for the heavenly demon disintegration seal. Whoosh! The layers of young infant's defense were shattered. The essence soul's explosion was really terrifying. A wisp of demonic light rose from Su Fong's body. The light came to his mind and suddenly hovered above the divine aperture, turning into a huge black wheel with endless demonic burning black flames. Sizzle. When the black flames came into contact with the Elder's primordial spirit's divine might, they instantly ignited the divine might and burned it into ashes. Poof! In the distance, the vice-altar master of the Night Spirit cult was 100 meters away from Su Fong. He was forced to take a few steps back. His eyes were shaking and his face was pale. He pressed his temples. True demon blood plate, a supreme Dharma treasure of the demonic path. Where did you get it? Sizzle. Sizzle. Deep in Su Fong's mind, the true demon blood plate burned the last bit of soul's essence soul that the old man had used. If I didn't have such means, I wouldn't be facing a peerless expert like you alone. He resolved the crisis. Fortunately, he wasn't the 7-star child. If it was the 7-star child, the true demon blood plate wouldn't have been able to resist. Su Fong was overjoyed. The old man was injured, and his young infant was severely injured. He can't attack me with his essence soul anymore. Imperial decree. The imposing figure suddenly attacked Su Fong. The old man launched a surprise attack. Swish! A fierce palm came in front of the figure. It seemed to be 100 meters away, but it suddenly arrived in front of him. This was the speed of a catastrophe realm cultivator. Edgeless heavy sword. Su Fong didn't hold back. The sword's edge appeared in his palm and stabbed at the giant palm. Boom! The giant palm instantly shattered under the edgeless sword's edge. Pa! Pa! Palm prints attacked from all directions. He used the ruler's divine steps in time and attacked step by step. The palm prints were everywhere and as fast as lightning. Su Fong could only dodge and attack some of the palm prints with the edgeless sword. His life was in danger at any second. The old man was furious. I'm going to tear you apart. Wings of fire cloud. The attack was indeed terrifying and full of killing intent. Even when facing Prince Shui, Su Fong's heart didn't stop beating like this. Su Fong could only dodge and attack the most fatal attack. Buzz. Suddenly, Su Fong, who was fighting with the old man, used his perfected ability and heard some movements around him. After hearing it, he was quite surprised and immediately sent a voice transmission. Vermilion Emperor hide. It should be a righteous path expert. A moment later, Vermilion Emperor completely disappeared. At the same time, Su Fong also put away the Rakshasa Jade bottle. Taking advantage of the 5 poisons, true Qi blocking the experts that had not been killed by Vermilion Emperor, Su Fong began to escape towards the formation. Oh, you want those immortal sealing gate disciples to help you? It's too late. The old man saw that the big goblin had disappeared and the poison gas was also disappearing. He was quite puzzled. Looking at the formation not far behind him, he seemed to have thought of what Su Fong wanted to do. It's senior brother Fong. He's back. Previously, it was all poison gas, and we couldn't see the situation clearly. Now, senior brother Fong is back, but he's being held back by a catastrophe realm expert. Prepare to activate the formation. Most of the poison gas disappeared. A few 100 meters away from the formation, over 100 disciples were finally able to see the scene in front of them. Before they could take another look, they saw Su Fong being killed by the old man step by step as he approached the formation. Seeing this scene, everyone knew the old man's strength. Who wouldn't be shocked? But seeing Su Fong fighting the old man alone and not letting the old man gain an absolute advantage, they all relaxed and hurriedly prepared the formation runes. What the hell are you doing? If you don't let this king help you, be careful of being killed by that old man. Or you can use the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda. Vermilion Emperor, who was hiding in the dark, transmitted his thoughts. Whoosh, whoosh. The 3 injured Night Spirit evil cult members also rushed over from the rear and surrounded Su Fong. Junior brother Fong, get out of the way. A thought was transmitted into Su Fong's mind without any warning. Su Fong once again used the fire cloud wings, the ruler's divine steps, and the edgeless sword. The heavy sword slashed horizontally, creating a powerful explosion. Taking advantage of the explosion, he jumped back. Chi! A blue cloud almost brushed past Su Fong, who was dodging and retreating. Among the green clouds, a 5-finger profound blade shot out and clawed fiercely at the palm print that was exploding and pushing forward. All the palm prints exploded and shattered with a crackling sound. Blue cloud sect. On the other side, The old man was pushed back and was supported by the three experts who rushed over. "It's my Blue Cloud sect. I didn't expect your night spirit cult to become even more aggressive this time. You openly killed righteous path disciples in the forbidden snowy forest. You even dare to kill disciples of my Blue Cloud sect." One move, it shattered the old man's attack. His strength and speed both surpassed Su Fong and was at the same level as the old man. Senior brotherly, Su Fong also used the ruler's divine steps and drew an arc in the air, arriving at the side of the blue cloud that had disappeared. Li Qianlong's clear appearance appeared in the blue cloud. As a sovereign disciple, his strength was truly unfathomable. "Let's go." The old man seemed to be very wary of the Blue Cloud sect and fled with his three subordinates. Blue Cloud formation. At the same time, more than 20 green-robed men appeared above the vast forest that had been mostly corroded by the poisonous gas in the snowy plains behind the four of them. All of them were Tribulation Realm experts of the Blue Cloud sect. Sky formation. Evil Vanquisher. Evil Vanquisher sword formation. More than 20 disciples opened their mouths and spat out azure flying swords. Furthermore, it wasn't just one, but a large number of azure flying swords. Buzz, buzz. The sky was filled with green flying swords, trapping the four night spirit sect experts in midair with an earth-shattering momentum. Transform. The Blue Cloud sect experts formed the same hand seal. Hundreds of green flying swords whizzed through the air in an oval shape, creating a terrifying sword chi storm that could destroy everything in its path. Kill. The Vice Altar Lord and his three subordinates released poisonous gas. Only the poisonous gas attacked the sword formation, but it was completely destroyed by the sword formation. The poisonous gas couldn't even pass through the sword formation to attack the Blue Cloud sect disciples. The sword formation's power continued to surround them. Clang, clang, clang. The four of them also released their Dharma treasures and attacked the sword formation. However, the flying swords were completely suppressed by the sword chi of the sword formation. The sword formation wasn't an ordinary formation. It felt like hundreds of flying swords were used to attack the formation directly. Ordinary formations were formed by combining rune talismans with the formation eye, which was protected by a barrier. However, the evil punishment sword formation from the Blue Cloud sect was so different. Chi, chi. The flying swords were completely suppressed, and the air currents formed by the sword chi killed the three night spirit cult experts. Li Qianlong suddenly nodded at Su Fong. "The main show is here. Junior brother Fong. Let's go see the strength of the Night Spirit cult's Altar Lord." Oh. It seemed that Li Qianlong had interacted with the Night Spirit cult several times. He immediately flew toward the sword formation with him, curiously. Supreme Night Spirit Golden Body. The evil punishment sword formation was indeed terrifying. It could break through anything and even suppress high-grade flying swords. The old man was the only one left. He wasn't afraid and formed a hand seal in front of his chest. Chi. His body trembled a few times and blood gushed out from his chest. Then his body was completely covered in evil flames and his flesh began to burn. It was almost no longer an ordinary human body. There was a bloody heart beating in front of his chest. Su Fong's hair stood on end. What the hell? Li Qianlong's expression hardened. I've also heard that the Night Spirit cult's true experts are just walking corpses. They're controlled by God Descent and some strange forbidden sacrificial arts. As for that heart, it should be an evil item refined by killing quite a few cultivators. That old man was controlled by that heart. Don't underestimate that heart. Previously, there were righteous experts who were killed by that heart's evil power. Chapter 483. A heart? Could it be as powerful as Li Qianlong said? Su Fong was very doubtful, but through his perfected ability and the power of the origin, he found that the heart was indeed incomparably evil. It had the 5 poison true chi and even the blood of the true demons. It was indescribable. It seemed that the aura of the heart couldn't even compare to the blood of the true demons. The evil vanquishing formation is extremely powerful. Every flying sword is a Dharma treasure used by cultivators, and also a flying sword specially made for formations. This is a formation passed down from the ancient times of the Blue Cloud sect. It's simple and easy to use, but it also contains many profound mysteries. Li Qianlong seemed to be worried that the evil power would hurt Su Fong, so he didn't continue to bring Su Fong closer. Swish! Swish! The evil vanquishing formation changed its attack again. Because the heart had absorbed the Night Spirit sect's deputy altar lord, his body turned into an evil blood shadow. The blood shadow merged with the heart, and a terrifying evil blood mist burst out. Hundreds of flying swords suddenly formed an oval shape. Boom! Then, the oval formation burst out with a sword light that quickly and fiercely hit the blood shadow. The blood shadow was indeed powerful. It was hit by so many flying swords, but it didn't shatter. After trembling a few times, the blood mist of the blood shadow shook away a lot of the oppressive sword chi. The blood patterns released by the heart expanded the blood mist into a huge blood-colored mushroom. One word, sword chi, which of the Blue Cloud sect's experts wasn't a catastrophe realm powerhouse. Their cultivation and strength were inferior to Li Qianlong's, but they were still supremacies in the cultivation world. The sword formation's attack didn't kill the blood shadow in the heart. It controlled the sword formation again, and the oval shape suddenly turned into a huge silver sword. Swish! 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 The huge sword let out a hum, and like a bolt of lightning, it fiercely hit the blood shadow in the heart again. This attack had an obvious effect. A lot of the blood mist was scattered and disappeared, but it didn't hurt the blood shadow. Sword wings across the sky. Once again, the sword formation changed its form. It suddenly shrank and turned into a pair of silver wings. After the wings moved, they were like countless feathers, peeling off from the sword wings one after another and attacking the heart of the dodging blood shadow. Witnessing the power of the evil vanquishing sword formation with his own eyes, Su Fong couldn't help but pound his fist. This sword formation is powerful, too powerful. However, Li Qianlong did not smile because of this. Lang Lang said, "There are countless formations in the world. Most of them are formed by restrictions and seals. The evil punishing sword formation is formed by specially refined formation, flying swords. Its attack is like a cultivator directly activating a magic treasure. Its defense is also the same. Therefore, this sword formation is a formation that can be used in all kinds of environments." That's right. In reality, this kind of sword formation was no stranger to Su Fong and all cultivators. Often, when encountering a strong enemy, a few cultivators would join forces and use magic treasures to deal with the enemy. In reality, it was just like the evil extermination sword formation, where magic treasures were used together. However, the flying swords of the evil punishment sword formation were all made for formations. Therefore, their power, speed, and power were all superior to many formations. Boom! A large number of flying swords transformed into a waterfall and surrounded the heart blood shadow. Who would have thought that the heart would shoot out streaks of blood veins, shaking off the flying swords and leaving behind the bloody figure? The heart seemed to have grown hands, and under the protection of the blood veins, it flashed and escaped into the sky. Pung! No heart. The other flying swords hit the blood shadow, and the blood shadow was instantly turned into dust. We can't let the altar master of the Night Spirit sect escape. If we catch it, we might be able to find out where the real sect of the Night Spirit sect is. Brother Fong, we'll part ways here for now. The sect put me in charge of the Night Spirit sect in the Forbidden Snow Forest and cooperated with the Snow Wind Continent. I can't leave for the time being. You must be very careful. Not only is there the Night Spirit sect in the Forbidden Snow Forest, there are also many experts from other small worlds and giant demons. They can kill people and rob here. They can do anything in order to kill the evil heart. After Li Qiankuan said goodbye, he led more than 20 Blue Cloud sect experts and fled in the direction of the heart. I'm afraid that those 20 or so Blue Cloud sect disciples specialize in the evil punishment sword formation. Watching the group of people leave, Su Fong also saw something. Senior brother is back. The formation behind suddenly disappeared. More than 100 disciples excitedly welcomed Su Fong. Obviously, Su Fong had saved them this time. If Su Fong hadn't blocked the Night Spirit sect, so what if they had the formation? How long could these immortal, undying, and young-souled disciples last under the siege of the Calamity Realm giants of the Night Spirit sect? After several adventures, most of these disciples seemed to have recognized Su Fong as a new supreme Tao disciple. The Pigma beast, Zhu Huang, also quietly returned to the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Under Su Fong's lead, the disciples continued to go deeper into the forest. Along the way, they encountered some big goblin, which Su Fong let the disciples kill. They also encountered some spirit treasures. Along the way, Su Fong didn't personally attack again. According to those cultivators, the Celestial Sealing Sect's disciples went deep into the snowfield to train. There's still some distance before they step into the central area of the Forbidden Snow Forest. I think they'll attack the Celestial Sealing Sect's disciples in the frozen space inside the Forbidden Snow Forest. In the wind and rain, two middle-aged men in gray robes quickly passed through the forest. About 2 hours later, in front of the forest that was almost covered by the glacier, the two suddenly stopped. There are more than 100 people training in the icy space ahead. They must be the Celestial Sealing Sect's disciples. The number and aura are similar to what the Crown Prince said. We finally caught up. Brother, you and I traveled thousands of miles from the Xinyuan planet to kill for the Crown Prince. Next time, the Crown Prince should also go to the Xinyuan Empire to express his cooperation with the Prince. The Xinyuan Empire is the only overlord in the small world that controls the huge Xinyuan planet. The Patriarch of the Xinyuan Empire is also the Realm Master of the Xinyuan planet. In this small world, the Xinyuan Empire is countless times stronger than the Celestial Sealing Sect. The Crown Prince is our friend, so he should see this clearly. It's good to be the leader of the Celestial Sealing Sect, but if he works for the Xinyuan Empire with the Crown Prince's potential, he will be favored by the Realm Master in the future. The Crown Prince is a smart person. If you and I can see it, how can he not see it? You and I will follow from a distance. If the Crown Prince finds it troublesome, he must have some tricks up his sleeve. You and I have to be careful. Since we're here, we have to do this for the Crown Prince. Don't let him underestimate the experts of the Xinyuan Empire. The gray-robed man spoke one after another, but did not take half a step closer to the icy forest. Inside the icy plains, more than 100 disciples of the Celestial Sealing Sect were scattered. 7 or 8 people formed small teams, and they were training in different areas. Although it was frozen, there were still some plants that were full of vitality. Among them, there were some spiritual herbs and medicinal herbs that were very precious. Some of the disciples were scared out of their wits. It turned out that they would occasionally encounter icicles in the icy plains. They looked like icicles, but when they got close, they would discover that there were corpses inside. Some were covered in wounds, and some were frozen to death. Some of the frozen corpses even grew flowers of immortality, which were obtained by the disciples. A few days later, the teams gathered and began to move out. Not long after, a world of cold air covered in snow appeared in front of them. The central region of the Forbidden Snow Forest. Coming here meant that they would encounter danger at all times. Su Fong told the young-souled disciples to protect them before they began to fly into the snowstorm. Rustle. The disciples stepped on their flying swords and flew into the snowstorm. However, they were blown away by the strong wind. Fortunately, the immortal and young nascent disciples acted in time to protect them. They cast seals to protect the immortal and undying disciples. Only then were they able to continue into the depths. The snowstorm was indeed terrifying. The cold air was countless times stronger than the outside world. There were also ice trees and ice blocks. If they were hit, even the young-soul disciples would die in the snowstorm. After traveling for a few kilometers, they suddenly saw some ravines at the bottom of the snowstorm. It should be caused by the snowstorm. Everyone, Be careful when you enter the ravine below. The snowstorm is very dangerous. Su Fong changed his mind and told the disciples to fly down. After 2 hours, they finally got rid of the storm. When they arrived at the ravine, they found that it was tens of thousands of meters deep. And as Su Fong had expected, it was indeed caused by the power of the snowstorm. There were many traces of wind erosion. After entering the ravine, the storm clearly weakened, but there were still storms swirling within. After trekking for a while, they passed through a large number of ravines on foot. Gradually, they found that the snowstorm above them was even stronger. The ravine also extended deeper and deeper. Gradually, there were forests and mountain ranges within the ravine. Along the way, they encountered quite a few cultivators. After checking the map, they smoothly entered the inner world of the forbidden snow forest. We can attack now. They're resting in the ravine. You and I will work together to assassinate Fong Yu. In his current state, he won't be able to dodge our assassination. All right, hide your identities and wear masks. Although no one will be able to recognize you and me as people from the Xinyuan Empire, we have to make sure we don't leave behind any trouble for the Crown Prince. All right, 2 gray-robed people walked over from the storm above. They immediately put on masks and hid their auras. Following the falling snow, they slowly approached a small ravine in front of them. 10,000 meters, 1,000 meters, several hundred meters, there's the sound of 2 people inhaling. There's also the aura of a Yuan spirit. The formation in the ravine was covered by some snowflakes. Within the formation, Su Fong was sitting cross-legged and cultivating. The energy of his 3 yang meridians had completely recovered. Apart from some of his lifespan that had yet to recover, he had already returned to his peak state. In other words, he had only truly recovered from his injuries after the battle with Prince Shui. With the combination of his Great Circle Paragons and his origin power, Su Fong suddenly sensed 2 weak auras approaching from the front. They were not slow either. They were almost running. They would probably reach the formation in a dozen breaths. So strange. They must have come with ill intentions. They should be very strong opponents in the catastrophe realm. Could it be the Night Spirit sect? No, there's no evil aura. Let's see what you want. All of a sudden, Su Fong said something to the disciples guarding the formation and flew out of the formation. Yes, you and me. No way. Our strength and cultivation are far superior to that kid. No matter how strong he is or how much of a genius he is, he can't sense the auras of experts like us. Could it be that he's just about to leave the formation? The 2 gray-robed people controlled the cold air and snowflakes. They stopped for a moment in the storm before changing directions and flying towards the ravine behind the formation. They really did come for me. They left the ravine below. Just as they arrived at the ice ridge behind the ravine, Su Fong sensed the 2 auras. They immediately changed directions and flew towards him. Now he was sure that the 2 experts had come for him. If they don't come with good intentions, they're most likely enemies. Then why should I be polite to you? 8 Origin Soul Elephant Formation. They flew a few kilometers towards the ravine behind them. When they arrived at the snowy plains, they immediately released the Fire Crystal Golem and Fire God Elephant and hid the formation around the forest. They sat down cross-legged and pretended to cultivate. Chapter 484. Vermilion Emperor. Are you ready? Su Fong, who was sitting cross-legged, had actually sent the wild boar beast to the back of the forest to hide with the formation. Deep in the back, the Vermilion Emperor coldly replied, "Don't worry. I don't want to fight. If this king directly kills the 2 of them, then this king can use the demon god's wrath and turn them into mincemeat with 1 whip." The demon god's wrath is a Dao item, and the forbidden snow forest is the #1 natural barrier of the snow wind continent. There must be many experts there. If you use the demon god's wrath, wouldn't it attract those experts? Then I'll use my fists. However, I'll be slower. Those 2 aren't weak at all. I reckon that they're both at the peak of the Calamity Realm. If I use my magical treasures, it'll take me quite a bit of effort to kill them. It'll be more likely if I use my true body. There's no need to use your true body. Your true body is similar to a Dao item. Just use your demonic poison and the 8 origin soul elephant formation to trap them. Then you and I can use our attacks. It won't be hard to deal with them. Furthermore, I also have the 5 poisons true chi. My poison gas can shackle them. 5 poisons true chi. This king wanted to say that you actually have the power of the 5 poisons divine sect. That 5 poisons divine sect is a major power among the humans. You also know about the 5 poisons divine sect? How could this king not know? This king has always been cultivating in the nearby small worlds. He has only been in the Zhuotian realm for a few thousand years. In addition, this king has lived for tens of thousands of years. The 5 poisons true chi is incomparably powerful. Of course, it can't compare to your demonic poison. Luckily, I have a Rakshasa jade bottle. Vermilion Emperor, they are coming. Get ready. At this point, Su Fong was still sitting cross-legged. It looked like he was cultivating, but in reality, he had already sensed the 2 experts gradually arriving in the air 500 meters away. They were slowly approaching in the cold air, holding one's breath. Once the killing intent erupted, it would be a life and death crisis. Flesh fetus divine armor. In order to lure the 2 into the formation, he had to resist their assassination. As long as they came within 10 meters of him, he could activate the 8 origin soul elephant formation. 10 meters. 4 peak calamity realm experts. This distance in front of them was right in front of them. Once they released their power, their aura could crush Su Fong. Close. Heaven ruler divine steps and wings of fire cloud are in preparation. Chi. After a few breaths suddenly, 2 streaks of cold chi transformed into blade lights. Pushed by 2 figures, they instantly arrived in front of Su Fong from 100 meters away. The thunder of thunder came. He wanted to kill Su Fong in one move. Pump. Su Fong's sudden explosive momentum with the flesh fetus divine armor protecting his body. He used the heaven-conquering divine steps, and a pair of flaming cloud wings appeared on his back, forming a huge defensive layer. Boom! Even if there was a defense, he was unable to withstand the attacks of the 2 experts. The 2 blade lights shattered the aura in front of Su Fong. As he had expected, the shattered aura turned into an endless aura and swallowed him up in an instant. I didn't expect this brat to be able to sense it. Not simple. So what? You can only wait for death. The gray-clothed masked giant released his domineering aura in the broken aura field and pounced on Su Fong, who was covered by the aura field. Buzz. Suddenly, a layer of Xian Guang surrounded them from all directions. Using the forest as a cover, it suddenly formed layers of formations. He's actually setting up a formation. So what if he has a formation? How can he trap experts like you and me? Unless he's also at our level of cultivation, we have to destroy the formation now. The 2 of them flashed past the aura field, but they didn't see Su Fong at all. The 2 of them were startled. Where is he? I'm above, protected by the formation. A sharp voice could be heard coming from above. Sure enough, Su Fong stepped on the Xian Guang formation. His flesh fetus divine armor was almost shattered. His face was pale, and his breathing was rapid. Obviously, he was injured by the aura of the 2 of them. Their aura had such terrifying power. Ha! We didn't kill you in one move, but we were seriously injured. One of the masked men laughed embarrassedly. Su Fong was as calm as a boulder. The 2 of you are giants. At least in front of a young soul cultivator like me. You're giants that can't be shaken. Can you tell me why you want to kill me? At least let me know why I'm dying. The other masked man said coldly. There's no harm in telling you. In any case, you'll be a dead man soon. It's not that we want to kill you, but that someone told us to kill you. That's the Celestial Bestowment Sect's disciple, Prince Shui. Prince Shui. So it's him. I thought that as a Celestial Bestowment Sect's disciple, he was someone with some magnanimity. I didn't expect him to be so vengeful. The 2 of you are also laughable. As giants, you're not inferior to Prince Shui in any aspect. You're willing to sell your lives for him. We're experts from the Xinyuan Empire. We met Prince Shui on the Divine Origin planet and are friends. If he has a problem, then a friend has a problem. We're just helping a friend. I heard that the Divine Origin planet is still a certain distance away from the Zhuotian realm. You guys are really willing to spend so much effort to come so far to kill a young soul cultivator like me. You've also heard of the divine origin planet. It really surprised us. I won't waste time with you. Since you know about the divine origin planet, then you should know about the Xinyuan Empire. The two's killing intent surged. They suddenly leaped left and right, forming an encirclement. 8-element space, pressure. It came too quickly. Su Fong immediately activated the 8 elements soul image formation. A large number of Xian Guang formations rose from the surroundings and flickered. Pu, the two experts, also made their move at this time. To them, the Xian Guang formation was just a Yang Soul Cultivator's formation. It couldn't even trap a first-layer Calamity Cultivator, let alone giants like them. It couldn't be stopped. Pa. Who would have thought that the Xian Guang formation would suddenly transform into giant figures of fire crystal golems? These giant figures directly turned into attacks, and their speed was indescribable. They crashed into the two giants again and again. When they collided, the two experts were unable to advance. Naturally, they couldn't attack Su Fong. This formation is not ordinary. The two of them were stunned. They released their attacks, shattering the attacks of the fire crystal golems. Even so, the two of them were unable to continue attacking Su Fong after shattering the fire crystal golems. They were completely trapped by the 8 elements soul image formation. Now it's my turn to attack. Su Fong suddenly smiled. He raised a Rakshasa jade vase in his hand. 5 poisons true chi. After the order was issued, the Rakshasa jade vase became 1 zhang tall. A large number of monsters poured out from the vase. Blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider. Each one was more terrifying than the last. The 5 poisons true chi army emerged and completely surrounded the two experts in the center of the formation. Because it was a formation, the 5 poisons true chi's speed and offensive power were higher than before. This is the 5 poisons true chi of the 5 poisons divine sect. Could it be that the remnants of the 5 poisons true chi came to the Zhuotian world to secretly establish a force? As expected of people from the Xinyuan Empire, the two magnates were knowledgeable. With just a glance, they recognized the blood goo, horned scorpion, white toad, silver snake, and spirit spider as the 5 poison Jinchi from the 5 poison sect. Chi. The two giants' strength and ability were extraordinary. They displayed astonishing speed and movement techniques. One of them used red lightning and turned it into a lightning blade, killing the 5 poisons true chi army in a large area. The other person activated countless sword lights, forming a huge sword chi giant. It spat out sword lights and crushed the 5 poisons true chi army. As expected of giants, after passing the 9 revolutions life seizing life from heaven and earth, they fought for endless immortality for themselves. After passing the vast 9 revolutions, great tribulation, they finally became giants at the peak of the catastrophe realm. Even Prince Shui had not reached their realm. They were still trapped in the 8 elements soul image formation. They did not suffer many shackles when they used their divine abilities. This point also proved their strength. However, they underestimated Su Fong, underestimated the 8 elements soul image formation, and even underestimated the 5 poisons true chi. They thought that Su Fong was only using the 5 poisons true chi. They did not expect that Su Fong also had a royal grade artifact that could endlessly release the 5 poisons true chi. Even more, 5 poisons true chi surged out, majestically forming an army of blood insects, horned scorpions, white toads, silver snakes, and spirit spiders. They did not have any consciousness, only evil and savage killing intent. They continuously attacked wave after wave. Dragging it out like this is not a solution. Directly attack that brat. I'll defend and block the poison. You attack. The 2 masked men had a way to deal with it. One person defended and blocked the poison, while the other attacked. The giant who used the sword light had the sword chi giant protect the two of them, pushing them forward and destroying the surrounding illusory fire crystal golems. The other person gathered power. After a while, he killed his way out. When he saw Su Fong controlling the Rakshasa jade bottle, he immediately flicked his finger. Chi! A scarlet bolt of lightning, like a scarlet dragon, shattered the Xian Guang in front of them. It tyrannically and fiercely attacked Su Fong. Chi! A giant elephant. It was the fire god elephant. It suddenly appeared from the Xian Guang in midair. It jumped up high and swung its trunk, hitting the scarlet bolt of lightning and causing it to disappear. Fire spirit treasure. The giant who controlled lightning was surprised to see the fire god elephant. He then summoned a pearl that released lightning. Damn, it's a high-grade lightning magic treasure. It's almost the ultimate lightning magic treasure. Lightning, the most tyrannical power. In order to pursue tyrannical power, humans constantly created lightning magic treasures in the world. Lightning magic treasures were peerless treasures that were born from this. Chi-Chi, watch how I shatter your formation. The giant who controlled lightning held the pearl in his mouth. He put his hands together and pointed his 10 fingers. Chi-Chi, 10 tyrannical bolts of lightning, like sword chi, pierced towards the formation. The 5 poisons true chi, the illusory attacks of the fire crystal golems, and the Xian Guang were all unable to resist the formation. They were defeated by the 10 bolts of lightning and turned into dust. Edgeless heavy sword. In midair, Su Fong blocked the 10 bolts of lightning. He activated the edgeless sword and slashed at the 10 bolts of lightning. ZZZZZA, King Grade Magic Treasure, resisted the power of a peak high-grade magic treasure and the magic power of a catastrophe rel powerhouse. The edgeless sword indeed blocked the 10 bolts of lightning. However, the power of the 10 bolts of lightning also spread out, causing Su Fong to lose his balance. ZZZ, the expert activated another 10 bolts of lightning and attacked the formation again. If it was hit, the 8 origin divine elephant formation would most likely be broken. If there was no formation to trap the 2 powerhouses, Su Fong would completely lose his advantage. This king is coming. Suddenly, a demonic aura came from the formation. It was the Vermilion Emperor. The front half of his body was on the ground. He opened his mouth to reveal a huge, evil pig head. He spat out a huge, demonic pig shadow, which bit the 10 bolts of lightning. ZZZ, ZZZ, ZZZ. Su Fong had never seen the true strength of the Vermilion pig. He finally saw it now. It actually bit the 10 bolts of lightning, causing them to shatter in midair. Its big belly strangely contracted again, and it actually spat out a wave of demonic poison, which surged towards the 2 powerhouses. 5 poisons true chi. Su Fong, who was holding the edgeless sword, did not have time to wipe off his blood or take care of his injuries. He activated the Rakshasa jade bottle, and even more 5 poisons true chi combined with the formation, directly oppressing the 2 powerhouses. Under the 2 waves of highly toxic poison, the defense and offense of the 2 powerhouses immediately collapsed. The 2 powerhouses were also entangled by the demonic poison, causing them to constantly scream. Chapter 485. Hee, this king's demonic poison tastes pretty good, doesn't it? There's no antidote for this king's innate poison. No matter what antidote you eat, it'll be useless. Everything had its counter. The 2 assassins possessed boundless strength. Even the Vermilion Emperor, an ancient vicious beast, would find it difficult to subdue them. But now, the 5 poison true chi, the demonic poison, and the formation shackles caused the 2 giants to be corroded by the poison. The Vermilion Emperor couldn't stop laughing. This king hasn't even used his wrath of the fiend god, but you've already fallen. He stood up and withdrew his monstrous aura. In a flash, he arrived beside Su Fong. A large amount of 5 poison true chi and the demonic poison had already trapped the 2 giants. They didn't know what the poison tasted like, but they could only release a defensive barrier. ZZZ. One of them actually released a lightning attribute bead on his own. The lightning blade released the two poisonous gases to create an opening. He abandoned his companion and hastily fled through the opening, devouring Yuan's spirit. This giant had a terrifying lightning attribute magic treasure. His attacks were incomparably tyrannical. He really did have a chance of escaping. The Vermilion Emperor was a step faster. At the same time, he released a pig head and a human body. The pig head spat out a demonic light that pounced toward the lightning. Whoosh! This was no ordinary divine ability. The demonic light swept through the lightning. It wasn't like a divine ability. Instead, it was like the might of a Yuan spirit. The giant trapped by the poison gas suddenly fell down like a dead man. Kill him. Su Fong hastily arrived beside the Vermilion Emperor. When the Vermilion Emperor withdrew his divine power, he also wrapped it around the giant's lightning attribute magic treasure. Of course I'll kill him. He's running for his life. This king wants to let him go. I was even planning on suppressing him as a slave. This giant was helpless. 8-element suppression. Taking advantage of the other giant being trapped by the poison gas, the Rakshasa Jade bottle released a terrifying suction force that easily sucked the giant trapped by the formation into the bottle. If you had said so earlier, I wouldn't have killed him. The Vermilion Emperor sucked the giant's corpse into his mouth. The corpse became a delicious meal. Chi! Su Fong glared at him and sucked him into the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. The 8 primordial divine elephant array also disappeared. In an instant, it returned to the array formation at the headquarters. It informed every disciple of the number of big goblin that they had killed and told them to rest in peace. Inside the formation while cultivating, the young infant entered the Rakshasa Jade vase. The 5 poisons true energy filled the royal grade magical items dimension. Although the 5 poisons true energy was no longer corroded by the toxic gas, it was still seriously injured and had lost its godly might. Su Fong released his majestic divine might. Your companion has been killed by me. Killing him is good. At the last moment, he actually fled by himself. The gray-robed expert's body was covered in poison spots, and he only sneered. If I wanted to kill you right now, it would be very easy. If I really want to deal with you, I wouldn't need to kill you at all. I would just imprison you in my magical treasure and torture you for eternity. Of course, you still have a choice. Submit to me and become my slave. That way, not only will you not die, you'll live a very comfortable life. I didn't think I would fall at your hands. In truth, you fell at the hands of Prince Shui. Think about it. Even he can't deal with me. So do you think you can easily deal with me and kill me? You should know very well why Prince Shui can't kill me even if he wants to. That damned Prince Shui. He's pushing us into a pit of fire. When the big shots heard this, they were furious and gnashed their teeth in hatred towards Crown Prince Shui. Su Fong asked again, I'm very curious. Why was Prince Shui able to invite the two of you to the Xinyuan Empire on the Xinyuan planet? What kind of existence are you? You seem to have a deep relationship with Prince Shui. Back then, Prince Shui went to the Xinyuan planet to train. At that time, he had just broken through to the catastrophe realm. We met him by accident and saw his shocking potential, so we called him brother. In the past few hundred years, our relationship has improved. We even introduced him to a prince of the Xinyuan Empire. That prince thought highly of him and even invited him to leave the Celestial Sealing sect and go to the Xinyuan planet to serve that prince. He's a disciple of the Celestial Sealing sect. That prince wanted him to abandon the Celestial Sealing sect to serve that prince. Prince Shui naturally refused. He has the potential to become a leader in the future. You think it's impossible because the divine origin star is still quite far away from the Zhuotian realm. After passing through the Chilean star, the Wu-Tan realm, and other small worlds, it's very close to the Renwang realm. Then, you've heard of the Divine Origin Empire before. In the ancient books of the Celestial Sealing sect, there are naturally introductions about some small worlds. There's also the Xinyuan planet. The Xinyuan Empire only has a simple record of it. The gray-robed giant said mockingly, Then let me tell you, The Xinyuan Empire is as strong as 10 celestial sealing sects, or even 10 times stronger. Do you believe it? No. Su Fong shook his head resolutely. It seems that the righteous forces of the Zhuotian planet didn't record the real small worlds. They don't let their disciples know how vast the galaxy outside is. They're undoubtedly frogs in a well. If they let their disciples see the strength of the sect, they'll only see the trees in the forest, but they won't see the world outside the forest. The gray-robed giant sighed. Why is the Xinyuan Empire so strong? Why is it stronger than the celestial sealing sect? In your eyes, the Xinyuan planet has countless forces, and its structure is the same as the Zhuotian planet. The Xinyuan Empire is just a small empire within the Xinyuan planet. Isn't it? Su Fong was surprised. Of course not. The Xinyuan planet is about the same size as the Zhuotian planet. There are countless forces within the Zhuotian planet, but there's only one force within the Xinyuan planet, and that's the Xinyuan Empire. Now you know that I'm not joking with you. Understood. The founding ancestor of the Xinyuan Empire was the realm lord of the Xinyuan planet. Otherwise, how could it become an empire that's famous in small worlds? If the realm lord of the Zhuotian planet also united all the forces in the world and established one force, then it would be as strong as the Xinyuan Empire. The celestial sealing sect alone is nothing. A prince of the Xinyuan Empire is more powerful and has a higher status than the celestial sealing sect. Do you still think it's a contempt for Prince Shui to follow a prince to cultivate? Seeing Su Fong remain silent, the giant's eyes were full of cold laughter. Even though he was suppressed by Su Fong, the giant was still proud and arrogant. The giant continued. His Highness values Prince Shui very much, and he also knows that Prince Shui has obtained the inheritance of the immortals and has the support of immortals behind him. His future is even more limitless. Otherwise, if he were a disciple of other forces, His Highness might not necessarily meet him in person. Even if Prince Shui didn't agree to His Highness' request, in His Highness' eyes, Prince Shui is already a powerful general. This time, Prince Shui invited us to help, and in fact, His Highness also knows about it. Now you should understand the relationship between Prince Shui and us. Also, if you kill us and suppress us, it's tantamount to offending a prince of the Xinyuan Empire. Aren't you afraid that even an arrogant person like Prince Shui has to bow in front of His Highness? Su Fong slowly condensed his chi. You're threatening me. You have to think about the consequences. The giant disagreed. Wrong. Wrong. I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong. I said that you're threatening me. That's wrong. You can't threaten me because you don't have the capital to do so. The one threatening me is the Xinyuan Empire. Su Fong said firmly. Don't you think what I said is very reasonable? The giant flew into a rage. I'm actually ignored by a little brat. So what? If you submit to me, you still have self-respect. If you don't submit to me, I'll refine you into a puppet. What do you think? You're so cruel at such a young age. You should say that I'm decisive. Those who submit to me will prosper, and those who oppose me will die. That's the law of the cultivation world. I, Su Fong, am a cultivator of this world, so there are some laws that I have to abide by. Now, give me an answer. Do you want me to kill you and refine you into a puppet, or do you want to voluntarily submit to me and become my servant? Once I'm strong enough, you'll regain your freedom one day. Fine, fine. I, Lu Yuan, will also have such a day. In my entire life, I've only let one person say those words to me. That person is a prince of the Xinyuan Empire. Now, you're stepping on my head again. I, Lu Yuan, accept my fate. As the saying goes, it's better to live than to die. Furthermore, you can't possibly let me die comfortably. Then it's simple. True Devil Imprint. He condensed a magical imprint and used the True Devil blood plate as the source to fuse with his Yuan spirit. It turned into a black imprint. Chi. Su Fong tapped the imprint in the air and left a mark between Lu Yuan's eyebrows. If you become my servant, I won't take your resources. I won't take your Dharma treasures or empty bags. Instead, I'll give you resources in the future. If you need any resources, just tell me. Normally, you can cultivate in my King Gray Dharma treasure, Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. With a thought, Lu Yuan teleported from the Rakshasa Jade Vase and entered the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Big Goblin. Unexpectedly, Lu Yuan, who had just arrived in the first level of Xianhuang, saw Zhu Huang and Bai Ling cultivating in a United Realms spirit chi. He was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. Not only did he see Zhu Huang and Bai Ling, but there were also 4 shackled catastrophe realm servants in front of him. Only then did he realize that this was the Dharma treasure space. Everything was under Su Fang's control. What was there to be afraid of? Lu Yuan came to the space where the 4 servants were and slowly absorbed the spirit chi. He sensed his surroundings. How many King Gray Dharma treasures does this kid have? That bottle with the 5 poisons true chi has already reached a very high level among King Gray Dharma treasures. This pagoda is even more powerful. It has some divine might of a Tao treasure. It seems like it's a King Gray Dharma treasure that's close to a Tao treasure. This is the immortal's blood essence that I refined. It's fused with yang energy. It can help you recover from your injuries and increase your strength. Su Fang's yang nascent soul descended. It also brought 5 Xianguang with it and flew towards the 5 people. The Xianguang was refined using yang energy and the Icebound King's blood. Of course, he didn't forget that Zhu Huang had given him a few drops of blood. If this continued, the Icebound King's blood wouldn't last 100 years. It's actually the immortal's blood. Lu Yuan fearfully swallowed the blood. His corroded skin suddenly emitted a vigorous yang energy that automatically expelled some of the poison. He then circulated his true chi and expelled the 5 poisons true chi and the demonic poison at an astonishing speed. After settling Lu Yuan down, he returned to the formation and rested for a while. Then, he continued leading the disciples deeper into the forbidden snowy forest. The central region of the forbidden snowy forest was completely enveloped by an enormous snowstorm. The outer region was filled with countless valleys. The snowstorm's power weakened in the depths, and there was a large amount of ice. However, there were layers of ice that didn't have any accumulated snow. It was like an underground layer of ice had been torn apart. The layers of ice were like layers of earth. They were perfectly fused together and extended into the depths of the earth. It was clear that these layers of ice had originally been layers of earth. However, under the power of the snowstorm, the earth had been cut apart, forming a shocking world of ice. Everyone, the forbidden snowy forest's greatest treasure is the ice spirit water. We're here to temper ourselves. If we can obtain the treasure, that would be for the best. If we can't obtain it, we shouldn't force ourselves to take the risk. If we lose our lives, it won't be worth it. After giving the order, he led the disciples into small groups and flew towards one of the vertical layers of ice. 9:09. Chapter 486. When they entered the ice layer, the power of the snowstorm above could no longer penetrate. The ice layer was silent, and most of it was frozen. Some of the ice cones were more than 30 meters long. Each of them was sparkling and translucent, but they emitted a sharp, cold light, as if they could pierce through anything. Some of the frozen rocks looked very smooth, like large gems embedded in the ice layer. The ice layer was formed by the snowstorm. It was frozen all year round, but there were also giant trees, vines, and all kinds of spiritual creatures. The most surprising thing about these creatures was that they were still able to adapt to the frozen world and were still tenacious. It's the Crimson Firmament Continent's celestial sealing sect. It's another righteous faction that came to train. Don't provoke them. These righteous sects are united. If you offend them, you will offend the other factions in the Snow Wind Continent. A few cultivators suddenly flew out from the depths of the ice layer. When they saw the celestial sealing sect's disciples coming, they didn't want to cause trouble. It turned out that there were still many cultivators. They were cultivating in the outer ice layer, digging ice caves, and setting up formations. They were either in 2s or 3s, or in groups of more than 10. Most of the celestial sealing sect disciples used the jade sky cold, mysterious technique. Although it was a technique mainly cultivated by women, most of the men had mastered it. With such a powerful divine ability to form a defense, they could resist part of the cold chi. They were more adapted to the cold chi of the ice layer than other rogue cultivators. After traveling for a few days, they gradually entered the depths of the ice layer. At this moment, a few young soul disciples who were scouting ahead flew over. "Senior Marshal Brother, we heard that there's a spirit beast called the Sky Snow flying raccoon ahead. It is hunting human cultivators in the surroundings. Many cultivators plan to capture the Sky Snow flying raccoons and sell them to those big factions. Spirit beasts are very precious in the eyes of those big factions. They can be nurtured into sect guarding spirit beasts." In front of Su Fong, a few disciples reported in surprise. "A Sky Snow flying raccoon spirit beast?" Su Fong was also surprised, but he nodded. "Back when I was training on the Flying Immortal Island, I just happened to encounter 100 spirit ape. I didn't expect to encounter another spirit beast this time. All right, you guys go scout again and find out where the Sky Snow flying raccoon is. We will work together to suppress it and bring it back to the sect. This time, everyone will return to the sect." "Yes." A few disciples turned around and left. Xiao Chan sent out his thoughts to inform all the disciples of the heavenly snow flying raccoons. The main purpose was to let them make preparations to suppress the spirit beasts. Most of the disciples had never seen a spirit beast before, and the 100 spirits ape had been sealed away in the house of immortal sealing. Therefore, it was only natural that it had been sealed away in the depths of the Taoist Right Temple. As they proceeded forward, Zhang Xian could sense that they had entered the depths of the forbidden grounds. Demonic qi emanated from the frigid currents in the surroundings, covering the entire area. However, due to the frigid air being too dense, ordinary disciples would not be able to sense it. Not only was there demonic qi, but there were also more human cultivators. They were either training, searching for treasures, or lurking in the dark. Regardless of whether they were demons or cultivators, there were a large number of titled immortal disciples, and none of them wanted to provoke the major powers. After meeting Su Fong, a few disciples who were scouting ahead looked around. Sure enough, there were traces of battle. Many layers of ice were in a broken state, and they could even smell some blood. Spirit beasts were actually a type of demon, but they were born by absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. Group after group began to surround the Sky Snow flying raccoon. Pung Pung. With his perfect circle ability, he suddenly heard some abnormal and loud noises coming from the depths of the left. He led some disciples along the curved ice layer, passing through various large and small frozen spaces. After about half an incense stick's time, they arrived at a 1,000-meter deep ice space that seemed to be formed by an underground river. Waves of oppressive sounds extended from the inside. As they got closer, everyone could see with their naked eyes more than a dozen experts. A few of them were in the catastrophe realm, while the rest were in the young nascent realm. They were using a few cultivator corpses as bait to hunt down a furry monster that was over 10 feet tall and covered in snow-white fur. Sky Snow flying raccoon, although it had a demonic nature, the majority of the aura within a spirit beast body was pure life aura. The demonic chi was not even 1/10 of that of a demon. It was completely different from a demon. Su Fong sent a disciple to pass the message. Get all groups to surround this place. That disciple hurriedly flew back, leaving Su Fong and the rest to wait quietly. Looking at the Sky Snow flying raccoon's nimble movements, its sharp claws were incomparably hard, similar to a high-grade magic artifact. This Sky Snow flying raccoon's strength was around the 5th level of the catastrophe realm, and its speed was even more terrifying. In addition to its abundant energy, even an 8th level catastrophe realm expert would find it difficult to take down this Sky Snow flying raccoon alone. Su Fong secretly communicated with the Vermilion Emperor, asking about the Sky Snow flying raccoon. The Vermilion Emperor was living a carefree life in the profound yellow space, refining the immortal's essence blood. He lazily replied. This king naturally knows about the sky snow flying raccoon. This kind of spirit beast lives in ice and snow regions all year round. It can survive in any extremely cold place, and it can also live underwater. There aren't many of them, but in other small worlds, there will always be one or two. It can adapt to the extreme cold. Doesn't that mean that the sky snow flying raccoon can come and go as it pleases in this forbidden snow forest? Su Fong was tempted after hearing this. Of course, without this ability, it can't be a spirit beast. In terms of strength, spirit beasts are generally stronger than most demon beasts. However, compared to this king, the sky snow flying raccoon is just trash. If this king was you would suppress it into a junior commander. You have 77 junior commanders here, and none of them are special. Adding a spirit beast would be even better. You can also control spirit beasts more easily and absorb their spiritual energy. If it was a big goblin, you would have to spend a lot of effort to dissolve its demonic energy. You've reminded me. What this king can think of, you can naturally think of as well. Don't let your own fertile water flow into other people's fields. Rather than giving it to the immortal sealing sect, you might as well keep it for yourself. In any case, this sky snow flying raccoon isn't very strong. With your strength, you could suppress it by yourself. Actually, I don't really want it to become my junior commander. Didn't you say that there are 2 treasures in this forest? Humans can't enter this forbidden land, so the sky snow flying raccoon might be able to suppress it. Then, through it, wouldn't I be able to obtain the extreme stone and the ancient spirit firefly? That's good. The Vermilion Emperor was full of praise and repeatedly nodded in agreement. It should also want to obtain some benefits. That was especially true for the extreme stone. That was a treasure that could aid cultivators in their cultivation. The big goblin was the same. Whoosh, whoosh. Several waves of cold chi came from behind them. The immortal sealing sect's small teams had arrived. After Su Fong finished setting up, the small teams were led by the Yang Soul disciples to advance. When all the small teams had surrounded the ice layer in the center, Su Fong then led Zheng Daoxin, Fu Tianxun, and the other disciples into the ice layer in front. More than a dozen experts were unable to trap the sky snow flying raccoon. Instead, the cultivator corpses that were used as bait were completely eaten by the sky snow flying raccoon. It looked like the spiritual beast was about to escape. Everyone, it's better if you don't try to snatch food from the tiger's mouth. Otherwise, the sword will be merciless. One of the second-level Calamity Realm experts was a middle-aged man draped in tiger hide. With one look, one could tell that he wasn't a disciple of a faction, but a clan or a rogue cultivator. Su Fongda's thunderous voice said, "Attack! Buzz! Buzz!" Suddenly, a large number of runes were thrown out from all directions. They were like countless stars. Pa! Pa! The runes floated above the space and then instantly shattered, turning into a layer of array. It suddenly covered the center of the space within a few hundred meters. This was strength in numbers. Moreover, they were all disciples of large factions. Apart from their cultivation, rogue cultivators couldn't compare. More than a dozen experts coldly shouted, "So many disciples of the immortal sealing sect." Whoosh! When the 3-meter-tall, sky, snow, flying raccoon saw the shackles of the array, it turned into a snowy figure. Its speed was astonishing. It leaped up like a huge rabbit and raised its claws to grab the array. Heaven Ruler, divine step. With such speed, even those Calamity Realm experts couldn't compare to it. They could only use magic treasures. Of course, they wouldn't let the sky snow, flying raccoon go. Once they suppressed the spiritual beast, they could obtain unimaginable resources and bring their clans to greater heights. However, a figure strode over, passing by the sky snow, flying raccoon, and the experts. He pointed his finger and forcefully clashed with the sky snow, flying raccoon's sharp claws, preventing the spiritual beast from escaping. The man and the beast both retreated a few steps. Zheng Daoxin and a few Yang Soul disciples instantly soared into the sky and controlled the aura of the array. He shouted, "Leave! We are disciples of the immortal sealing sect and have set up the array. If you want to become enemies with us, don't blame us for killing you. Let's go. We can't afford to offend the immortal sealing sect. Moreover, that person can stop the sky snow flying raccoon. He's not weak. We won't be able to get any benefits. Let's go." In the end, this group of loose cultivators had no choice but to leave in disappointment under the control of the immortal sealing sect's array. After they left, the disciples sealed the array. After Su Fong blocked the sky snow flying raccoon's escape, he immediately ordered, "Use the firmament heavenly sword chi and cooperate with the array to attack the sky snow flying raccoon." Form of the 100-odd disciples, some appeared inside the array while some appeared outside. They all formed hand seals and instantly condensed a tsunami of firmament heavenly sword chi around the array, attacking the sky snow flying raccoon. Tap! Tap! The sky snow flying raccoon was strong and ferocious. Its sharp claws swept out, shattering a large area of firmament heavenly sword chi. Then, it flew towards the array's barrier. Layers of ice sealing chi cooperated with the array and blocked the sky snow flying raccoon from above. The jade firmament ice profound art combined with the array's might became even stronger. The 100-odd disciples worked together to form a cold chi defense, preventing the sky snow flying raccoon from advancing. However, its claws were indeed sturdy. Any attack could tear a large hole in the ice layer. Su Fong released his spiritual sense. "Everyone, don't be anxious. We have the advantage. Don't think that this is a life and death battle, but a battle of magical powers. Our purpose here is to gain experience and use the sect's magical powers. If we work together, even if we can't suppress the sky snow flying raccoon, we can still gain experience." Indeed, it was a timely reign. The immortal, undying, and undying disciples all regained their composure. They were no longer in a hurry to attack. They formed deeper hand seals and executed more cold chi seals. "We can't leave like this." Outside the ice layer, in the cold chi cave 1,000 meters away, the 10-odd loose cultivators did not leave. That tiger-skinned, middle-aged man gritted his teeth in embarrassment. "The righteous Taoist factions are going too far. Take a look. There are more than 100 disciples, but none of them are in the calamity realm. They still dare to be impudent in front of us. They're looking down on us experts." "That's right. What do you plan to do?" That sky snow flying raccoon didn't hesitate to let us kill them and use their corpses as bait. We can't just let them go. Furthermore, the price is shocking. The celestial sealing sect's disciples know how to snatch food halfway. Why can't we do the same? We will secretly pay attention to which disciple the sky snow flying raccoon ends up in the hands of. Then, we will find an opportunity to launch a sneak attack and take away their corpses. The world is vast. I don't believe that the celestial sealing sect can flip the entire Zhuotian domain upside down to find us. The few of them discussed unwillingly. They were all unwilling to let the celestial sealing sect take advantage of the spirit beasts. Inside the ice layer, within the array, deafening vibrations were emitted. Sometimes it was the firmament heavenly sword chi, sometimes the heavenly dragon divine claw. With the jade sky cold mysterious art's help, the sky snow flying raccoon was unable to break out of the array. 90T9. Chapter 487. Over 100 disciples of the Celestial Sealing Gate were under Su Fong's command. Every one of them, regardless of whether they were in the longevity realm or the Yang Soul realm, used all of their abilities and formations to their fullest potential. Perhaps they had never thought that with their ordinary cultivation and strength, they would be able to work together to deal with a terrifying catastrophe realm spiritual beast. An experienced upper echelon, then the disciples that he brought up would all have extraordinary potential. Su Fong used the experience he had accumulated and combined it with the formation to make all the disciples unleash their potential. However, The sky snow flying fox was a peerless spiritual beast. It was stronger than the big goblin. Although it wasn't as strong as the Vermilion Emperor, it wasn't something that ordinary disciples could deal with. Furthermore, the sky snow flying fox didn't use its full strength. It had been dealing with the celestial ceiling gates formation. Obviously, it wanted to kill its way out of this predicament without wasting any effort. I'll wait patiently. These disciples alone won't be able to stop the sky snow flying fox. Unless there are a few more Catastrophe Realm disciples. Even if they're in the first layer of the Catastrophe Realm, they'll be able to suppress the sky snow flying fox. Su Fong didn't make a move. He floated on the other side and led the disciples to unleash their abilities. He was confident that he could control the entire situation. He would let the disciples complete their missions and not let them suffer any injuries. After half a day, the disciples couldn't believe that they could fight the sky snow flying fox for such a long time. Boom! Little did they know, the sky snow flying fox was using the strategy of if the enemy doesn't move, I'll move. Seeing that the celestial ceiling gates disciples were so powerful, it was worried that more experts would come. Its body suddenly grew to 10 zhang, and it spat out an indescribable cold air. When the cold air came into contact with the Daluo Heavenly Sword Qi, the Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw, or the sealing power formed by the Jade Firmament Mysterious Art, it instantly froze all kinds of mystiques and seals. The cold air that it spewed out was instantly frozen and turned into a ball of ice. The attacks of 100 disciples were dissolved just like that. The heavenly snow flying raccoon punched again, shattering the ice seal in front of it. Then, it took the opportunity to break through the formation under the shattered ice and fly out. Its speed and strength were not something that any young soul disciple could compare to. Even the third-level Grand Tribulation disciples from Blue Ocean City couldn't stop the sky snow flying raccoon at this speed. The sky snow flying raccoon actually managed to escape. It's the sky snow flying raccoon. We underestimated it. I thought it would be easy to suppress it, but the House of Immortal Ceiling can't. Let's go after it. More than a dozen experts who had been hiding for a long time suddenly chased after him. Everyone, there's no need to be discouraged. Even if you work together, you'll still be able to trap a sky snow flying raccoon that is 100 times, 1,000 times stronger. After fighting for half a day, you've already obtained a great harvest. Now, everyone can rest in this space. The young soul disciples will protect you. Everyone else, rest well. Once the sky snow flying fox left, all the disciples were dispirited. After being comforted by Su Fong, everyone regained their spirits and began to cultivate on the spot. After Su Fong gave some instructions to the young soul disciples, he secretly chased after the sky snow flying raccoon. Just those dozen loose cultivators can suppress the sky snow flying raccoons. In fact, as Su Fong sped through the spell formation, he knew that the rogue cultivators hadn't really left yet. Fortunately, they managed to catch up to the sky snow flying raccoon in time. Su Fong was able to follow the cultivators' auras and accurately find the sky snow flying raccoon's direction. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, the Grand Perfection cultivators heard movement in front of them. The sky snow flying raccoon was also able to escape. It ran several hundred meters deeper into the ice layer. The surrounding ice layer was even more dangerous. Shocking cold currents continuously assaulted them. In fact, Su Fong saw a few cultivators frozen to death by the cold currents. There were also dozens of them in the Undying and Longevity realms. Aside from the Undying disciples, even the Undying disciples couldn't survive in such a deep layer of ice. It was too much of a pity to die here. The frozen cultivators had already turned into dried corpses. Clap, clap, clap. The ice layer shook violently, and many ice shards fell. After Su Fong dodged, he saw more than a dozen loose cultivators activating their magic treasures and surrounding the sky snow flying raccoon. It seemed like the sky snow flying raccoon was hiding in front of him. It seemed like those loose cultivators were quite capable to be able to chase it here. Controlling their magic treasures, a few Catastrophe Realm cultivators led Yang Soul Realm cultivators to fight the sky snow flying raccoon. The sky snow flying raccoon displayed a shocking ability. Cold air in order to avoid the magic treasures. The dozen or so experts were using high-grade magic treasures. They were high-grade magic treasures from ordinary high-grade to near-peak magic treasures. Their power was boundless. Even peak catastrophe realm cultivators like Lu Yuan couldn't withstand the attacks of so many high-grade flying swords. The cold air that the sky snow flying raccoon breathed out turned into ice. It blocked, and sealed the flying swords, causing them to be unable to fly around. After all, flying swords are the fastest magic treasures. Although they were easy to control, and there were many of them, even a spiritual beast like the sky snow flying raccoon didn't dare to face the attacks of more than a dozen high-grade flying swords. As for its cold energy ability, the power it displayed was indeed exceptionally terrifying. When the sky snow flying raccoon breathed out cold air, the surroundings were filled with bone-chilling cold air. As long as it breathed, the surroundings would turn into ice. As such, the flying swords attacked in front of the sky snow flying raccoon. As a result, the space immediately turned into ice, and the flying swords were naturally blocked. As such, the flying swords were unable to get close to the sky snow flying raccoon. Even though the dozen or so cultivators, especially the catastrophe realm cultivators, used their flying swords to freeze the sky snow flying raccoon like chopping vegetables or firewood, the speed at which the sky snow flying raccoon was frozen was much faster than the speed at which the flying swords cut the ice. As such, the sky snow flying raccoon's innate ability had reached the peak. In addition, the catastrophe realm cultivators were only between the first and third level. Their strength was also below the sky snow flying raccoon. If this continues, these cultivators will exhaust their energy and end up being killed by the sky snow flying raccoon. If I escape now, I can still escape unscathed. In a dark place far away, he activated his great perfection vision and silently watched the battle. The onlooker sees the situation clearly. This was the current situation in Sufang. The dozen or so experts wanted to obtain the sky snow flying raccoon. Spirit Beast. A spirit beast could be exchanged for unimaginable resources in the Azure Cloud sect. It could even be exchanged for a few king-grade artifacts, not to mention other resources. With a few king-grade artifacts and a large amount of resources, it was enough to establish a large clan or even a third-rate cultivation force. These rogue cultivators had such thoughts and lost their rationality. They only saw that they had the advantage in numbers and neglected the sky snow flying raccoon's innate ability. In this world of ice and snow, the sky snow flying raccoon was the king. The battle lasted for almost an entire day. Pop had the degree and range of the heavenly snow flying raccoon's freezing power suddenly extended. Moreover, the location of the ice formation was extremely strange. A few Yang Soul Realm experts were hit by the power of the ice out of nowhere, or they were frozen alive. Like weights, they lost their center of gravity and flew towards the depths of the ice cave. Naturally, they lost their lives. A few catastrophe realm cultivators had used up more than half of their true chi. Seeing their companions die, they were unable to help. At this moment, they started to panic. They had the thought of escaping. However, the sky snow flying raccoon's combat strength was becoming more and more ferocious. How could it let go of the humans who forced it into a dead end and even killed their way into the cave? 222, a large area of space was covered in ice. It was as if icebergs were pressing down from the sky, preventing the remaining experts from escaping. All of the Yang Soul Realm cultivators died under the impact of the icebergs or were frozen alive. The sky snow flying raccoon grabbed a corpse and began to replenish its energy. Its snow-white fur was now dyed red. After eating the corpse, it recovered quite a bit of its strength. Haha, you humans still want to kill me? If I wasn't worried about encountering a large number of human experts, this king wouldn't have been killed by you. Run. The remaining 4 Catastrophe Realm cultivators regretted their actions. They controlled their flying swords and used their divine abilities to shatter the ice behind them, as well as the wave of cold chi. They even saw that, as the cold air swept through the surroundings, the layers of ice were once again frozen and covered with layers of ice and cotton-padded jackets. Only then did they truly see how strong the sky snow flying raccoon was. They had indeed taken advantage of it. However, the sky snow flying raccoon's advantage wasn't something they could take advantage of with their cultivation. The few of you owe me a favor this time. I originally didn't want to save you, but you wanted to target my immortal sealing gate. Don't provoke my immortal sealing gate in the future. The sky snow flying raccoon's cold chi had already surpassed the 4 experts. If this continued, even if they could struggle for an hour, they would still be frozen in the end. At this moment, a domineering sneer suddenly entered their minds. Divine Astropalm. Suddenly, a figure released cold chi from behind the heavenly snow flying raccoon with an unstoppable momentum, sending out a yellow-colored palm print. Bang! The cold chi and the yellow palm suddenly attacked the sky snow flying raccoon's back. All the ice seals and cold chi were shattered. The palm strike caught the heavenly snow flying raccoon off guard and struck its back. Just like that, the 4 Tribulation Realm cultivators finally stepped on their flying swords and fled in panic. The sky snow flying raccoon turned around. "It's you again," Su Fong said calmly. "It's me. You should know that my strength isn't much weaker than yours. Furthermore, I'm not afraid of your cold chi. You should obediently submit to me. You want me to be a guard for the Celestial Sealing School? Pooh!" The sky snow flying raccoon was so angry that it spat out saliva. "No. Although I'm a disciple of the Celestial Sealing School and represented the Celestial Sealing School to deal with you, I'll represent myself now and accept you as a small commander to serve me in the future. This is different. If you fall into someone else's hands, you'll naturally become a guard dog. However, with me, you can freely cultivate, breathe, and help me deal with strong enemies. The treatment is not bad. Of course it's not bad. Who else in the world would give you such treatment? Haha. Do you think this king is a chicken? With just a few words from you, this king has to submit to you. You ungrateful fellow. Watch this king's thunder lightning raccoon get angry and kill you. Chi. The sky snow flying raccoon furiously attacked. It spat out cold chi again and used the cold chi to attack Su Fong's head with its sharp claws. How dare you harm my master? A gold and silver pagoda, shadow, suddenly descended from above with an aura that could shatter mountains and rivers. It rapidly fell towards the sky, snow, flying raccoon. You despicable human. You actually prepared such a king-grade artifact beforehand. The sky snow flying raccoon was so frightened that it trembled. However, it still clenched its teeth and revealed an ominous glint. It spat out cold chi and waved its sharp claws to attack the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Bang! The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda crushed the cold chi and shook the sky snow flying raccoon's sharp claws to the point that it lost its attacking power. What was even more violent was that a formless suction force sucked the sky snow flying raccoon in. A spirit beast, which was also the first spirit beast in Su Fong's possession, was imprisoned in the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda just like that. Of course, Bai Ling was also considered a spirit beast. However, she was Su Fong's relative. I'm done fighting. Vermilion Emperor, you stay in the profound yellow space and take care of the sky, snow, flying raccoon. This is an easy task for you. Su Fong concealed his aura and stepped on his flying sword as usual to leave the ice cave. 90T9. Chapter 488. After returning to the ice space where the formation was, he learned from Zheng Daoxin that all the disciples were cultivating. Only then did he come to the center to cultivate. After absorbing all kinds of resources, his energy had already recovered, and he was about to break through to the second level of the Yang Soul realm. At this moment, in another dangerous ice space in the forbidden snow forest. Chi, a beautiful figure, coldly stabbed a flying sword into the chest of a black-clothed man. The man spat out blood and tried to grab the woman, but his body trembled and he quickly fell to the ground. Yui, a black-clothed man, came to the woman's side. The woman's face was covered by a veil. She bowed when she saw the man. Elder, the remaining members of the Night Spirit Church have also been killed. This man was the Zuan Pavilion's elder, Zhang Suning. For an elder to come to the Forbidden Snow Forest, it seemed that the Night Spirit Church was indeed valued by the righteous path. Zhang Suning said, "The Blue Cloud Sect and the Eternal Spring Immortal School are killing the experts of the Night Spirit Church in another place. This time, we didn't come to kill the Night Spirit Church for only one purpose." The veiled woman was precisely the sovereign Wang Yuan. She released a streak of divine might. After a while, his genius disciple, Yuan Ling, and several other experts of the catastrophe realm protected Xiao Mei as they arrived at the ice cave. Wang Yuan's eyes showed helplessness. "Mei, the elder has a mission for you. You already know the importance of this matter. Be disciple understands." Xiao Mei nodded. Zhang Sun Ying admired her. "For the sect, you are willing to do things against your will. Only a qualified disciple can do that. As for what you need to do, it's in this mark. After fusing with it, start immediately. The mark will also allow you to keep in contact with the sect. Remember, you can't have any personal relationships." "Yes." After taking the mark, Xiao Mei watched the experts leave. For some reason, there was only sadness in her eyes. Chi, around half an incense stick of time. More than 10 experts of the Night Spirit Church were chased by the Zuan Pavilion disciples to this ice cave. Xiao Mei and the Zuan Pavilion disciples surrounded the experts of the Night Spirit Church. But the Night Spirit Church had quite a few experts, and even Tribulation Realm experts. The disciples of the Night Spirit Church didn't have any advantage. They could only use their ice chi to fight with the experts of the Night Spirit Church. On the other side, Su Fong, who was trying his best to break through, originally had the chance to break through to the second stage of the Yang Infant Realm. Therefore, he used the Heavenly Demon Disintegration Seal to stimulate his Yang Infant. Little does one know, because they were also cultivating the 9 Yang 9 transformations together, a tremor suddenly came from their bodies. From then on, some red aura leaked out from the 7 apertures of the Su Fong. Su Fong was so frightened that he thought something big was going to happen. When he entered his body to take a look, he immediately went wild with joy. The 4th Yang Meridian, that was in the middle of breaking through, had unexpectedly reached the great success stage without any warning. Because he had completed his Yang Meridian, he was able to unleash a shocking energy that swept through his fleshly body. Thankfully, he wasn't in the house of Immortal Sealing's Taoist Right Temple. Otherwise, it would have attracted the attention of other experts. He carefully examined the 4th Yang Meridian. Just like the previous 3, it was like a meridian born of Yang Qi. It was crimson white, and the layers of the meridian were all Yang Qi. The Yang Qi, the meridian, the blood, and the flesh were all Yang Qi. Excellent. With the 4th Yang Meridian formed, I can start on the 5th. With 4 Yang Meridians as the foundation, it'll be much easier to cultivate the 9 Yang 9 transformations and use the Mega Manifestation Heavenly King Body. The benefits of having a 4th Yang Meridian were obvious. Not only would it help him cultivate the 9 Yang 9 transformations, it would also increase his power levels to a whole new level. After using the 9 Yang 9 transformations, the speed at which the Yang energy flowed through his body increased significantly. Using the 4 Yang meridians as a circle, the Yang energy flowed out of the meridians and made several major circulations before returning to the Yang meridians. The invincible golden body was also much faster. Unfortunately, the invincible golden body was a godly class technique, and therefore it wasn't as strong as the fleshly embryo god armor. The biggest problem was that the invulnerable golden body required a huge amount of Yang energy, which would eventually run out in the end. With the increase in the flow of yang energy and the birth of the fourth yang meridian, Su Fang's fleshly body and life force were both shocking, and his fleshly body's powers of regeneration were shocking. At this moment, the Vermilion Emperor's voice came from the profound yellow space. Master, the sky snow flying raccoon has been subdued. Yang Ying came to the mysterious yellow space to take a look. Indeed, the heavenly snow flying raccoon was only as tall as an adult. Its entire body was covered in injuries, and there were a few places on its body that had lost some fur. Clearly, the Vermilion Emperor was ruthless. Master, Sky Snow Flying Fox bowed. Su Fang gave him a drop of immortal blood and an immortal fruit. The celestial snow flying raccoon was a spirit beast. Once it saw the celestial fruit, it immediately swallowed it greedily. Soon, its entire body was burning with a frightening amount of spiritual qi, and its injuries were quickly recovering. Su Fang was very satisfied. In the future, you will be my little commander and work hard for me. I have many questions for you. You should know a lot about the Forbidden Snow Forest. I don't know this world the best, but I know most of it. Other than the two big goblin, I know most of the places. After all these years, have you found any ice spirit water, extreme Een stones, or Aeon spirit fireflies? I have a lot of ice spirit water, which I use to cleanse my marrow. I also have a few dozen extreme Een stones. They aren't very large, and I use them to cultivate. They can dissipate the demon energy in my body and absorb the spiritual vitality of heaven and earth. As for the Aeon spirit fireflies, I've never found any, but I've seen them many times. The heavenly snow flying fox answered honestly. Then he took out an extreme Een stone. As soon as Su Fang touched it, the jade heaven cold profound art automatically condensed. Even the faint frigid energy of the 9 Een appeared in his meridians. Not only that, but the Yang also sensed the extreme Een stone and began to absorb its energy. Even his golden core quintessence sensed the stone. The extreme Een stone really was a good treasure. It was very useful to humans, demons, and devils. No wonder so many people wanted it. Recover well. Later, take me to find these treasures. We can't come here for nothing. Who knows, we might be able to suppress the 9-jointed earth dragon and the ice silkworm demon sovereign, those two peerless big goblin. Leaving behind a few drops of blood and an immortal fruit, the young Ying returned to his fleshly body. Crack. After cultivating for several days, Su Fang originally wanted to arrange for the disciples to continue training. But at this moment, the sound of a talisman shattering came from his body. Save me. This is where I am. Xiao Mei Er's cry for help came from the talisman. That talisman was something he had left for Xiao Mei Er. He didn't expect that there would finally be some movement, but it was Xiao Mei Er's cry for help. Wise Mei Er, in the Forbidden Snow Forest. Could it be that the Zhuan Pavilion also sent many of its disciples to the Forbidden Snow Forest to deal with the Night Spirit sect? Su Fang didn't care about that. He immediately went outside the formation. All disciples, listen up. Everyone, train in the nearby ice layer. Don't go too deep. I'll leave some resources for you. During this time, I'll also be going around. If there's anything, contact me through the medallion. Leaving behind a large amount of pure yuan pills, Su Fang flew away. He took out the map from Li Qianlong and compared it in detail. He immediately determined Xiao Mei Er's approximate location. In less than an hour, Su Fang was flying at full speed. He didn't know how many forests and ice layers he had passed through. His gaze blazed as he used his perfection ability to bend through the ice layer several hundred meters below. He gradually heard movement and smelled the shocking blood qi in the air. Immediately after, a large number of ice layers shattered. After dodging, Su Fang immediately saw several Night Spirit Society experts besieging 3 profound Lady Pavilion disciples in the icy space several hundred meters below. Unfortunately, one of the female disciples had been captured by the Night Spirit sect and had her heart gouged out. Mayor, I'm coming. Su Fang hastily released his Yang Nascent and raised his speed to the limit. He used his fire cloud wings. Yes. One of the Night Spirit Sect's Tribulation Realm experts saw the fire cloud wings and immediately gave the order. Together with several other Night Spirit Sect experts, they released an evil poisonous gas. Chi-Chi, Xiao Mei and a female disciple's defenses were shattered by the poisonous gas. The two of them fell into the poisonous gas and lost their ability to defend. Pow! Several Night Spirit Sect experts attacked Su Fong in the air. Suddenly, a sword without an edge appeared in Su Fong's hand. This sword contained Su Fong's powerful divine power. It shattered two high-grade Dharma treasures with one strike. The controller of the treasures was also killed. Furthermore, the nearby people were blown away. Su Fong flashed through a gap and arrived on the icy ground, holding Xiao Mei in his arms. Su Fong looked at the black-purple Xiao Mei and immediately released his yang qi. He pressed it against her chest. Mei it's a disciple of the immortal sealing gate. The Night Spirit Sect experts looked at the corpses of their companions without the slightest sympathy. They stared at Su Fong. They knew he was a troublesome opponent. They all slapped their chests at the same time and released several evil magical seals. Several of them fell one after another, leaving behind only one Tribulation Realm middle-aged man. Save my junior apprentice sister. At this time, Xiao Mei weakly opened her eyes and pointed to the side. Su Fong waved his hand. The poisonous gas was unable to pose a threat to him. After shaking off the poisonous gas, he brought a black-clad woman in front of him. Xiao Mei looked, and her tears dripped down. I'm sorry, junior apprentice sister. I'm sorry. The black-clad woman's heart had already been attacked by the poisonous gas. The Night Spirit Sect's poisonous gas was very strange. It started from the inside of her body, rotting her organs and spreading throughout her body. The woman didn't seem to be poisoned, but her organs had already completely rotted. Don't use your qi. The Night Spirit Sect's poisonous gas is very powerful. I'll first inject a goo worm into your body and then yang qi. After you absorb the yang qi, cooperate with me to purify the poisonous gas. Su Fong nervously said and summoned a goo worm. His yang qi also flew into Xiao Mei's body. The Night Spirit Sect middle-aged man, who seemed to have absorbed his companions, had bloodshot eyes. He began to fly to the ground and ruthlessly roared, "Brat, you're done for. You still want to save people? So powerful." He looked at the Night Spirit Sect expert. He was originally a low-level Tribulation Realm expert, but his strength had increased by dozens of times. He estimated that his strength was close to the peak of the Tribulation Realm. 6 yuan. No, 6 yuan's strength hasn't fully recovered. Su Fong couldn't leave and still had to help Xiao Mei neutralize the poison. He seemed helpless. But this king has come. Demonic qi exploded from Su Fong's aura. The bald, big-bellied, red-eared Vermilion Emperor appeared in the air with his hands on his hips. Not even the big goblin can stop me. The evil middle-aged man savagely shouted. After a series of explosions and collisions, the Vermilion Emperor and the Night Spirit Sect's middle-aged man fiercely clashed. I thought I wouldn't be able to see you again. Xiao Mei regained a trace of strength. She shined with guilt and tears as she immediately lay in Su Fong's embrace like a little bird. From the state of Zhao to the Crimson Firmament continent, she had gone through several life and death situations. Now that her life was in danger, Xiao Mei no longer hid her feelings. She crazily burst out and hugged Su Fong tightly. Su Fong also seemed to melt. Everything became unimportant as he enjoyed the warmth of Xiao Mei's body. That soft body had already melted his body of steel. Su Fong's heart was filled with warmth as he comforted her. Why wouldn't you be able to see me, silly girl? 90T9. Chapter 489. Xiao Mei choked with sobs and hugged Su Fong even tighter, sticking to him like an octopus. When you came to Zuan's pavilion, I could only look at you from afar. In the end, I watched you leave. At that moment, I thought you were angry and would never return, leaving me alone in Zuin Pavilion. I understand that Zuin Pavilion doesn't want to see me, but I know you were waiting for me, right? Silly girl, don't cry. There are still people nearby. Feeling her silky, smooth skin, Su Fong comforted her while paying attention to the surrounding situation. When I saw your back, I thought I would never see you again. No matter where you are, you will see me. How long has it been? The heavens have probably given us this opportunity to meet here. I want to stay like this for the rest of my life, never letting go of you. Actually, I also want to stay like this forever. Then we can go from Zhao to the southern border, and from there to the Crimson Firmament continent. We could go to many places together and experience many different cultures. Back then, when I destroyed Zhao, my wish was fulfilled. I wanted to be with you for the rest of my life. For some reason, Su Fong felt that what Xiao Mei said was also what he wanted to say. It was as if their thoughts had merged together. Qi, the Vermilion Emperor, shattered the evil poisonous gas and stuck his head out. He shouted enviously, "Don't talk about love in front of this king. If you want to talk, you have to find a lover for this king. Why aren't you leaving? The Night Spirit Society's experts are coming." Who is that perverted guy? Xiao Mei shrunk behind Su Fong's shoulder awkwardly. Su Fong introduced. He is an ancient, ferocious beast, but he asked me to call him the Vermilion Emperor. He is actually a great commander that I just suppressed. His true body is a pig demon. How many of my sect disciples have these people killed? They killed the big goblin and those two humans. Before the two could stand up, black-clothed people flew out from all directions. There were more than 30 of them, and all of them were in the Calamity Realm. How did the Night Spirit Church get so many Calamity Realm powerhouses? Su Fongdao was shocked when facing dozens of Calamity Realm powerhouses, some of whom were close to the peak. He felt that the Night Spirit sect was just an evil cult that loved to kill. We have to leave. Although the Night Spirit sect appeared in such a short time and slaughtered quite a few third-rate powers, such as sects and families, they were later completely wiped out by the righteous path. Only then did the Night Spirit sect temporarily infiltrate the Snow Wind continent to hunt down our cultivators. They have countless experts, and I've heard that when they killed righteous experts, they would use their divine descent art to revive them and refine them into walking corpses. Xiao Mei acted as if she were facing a great enemy. Vermilion Emperor, you'll hold back some of the evil cult members. Once I'm free, you'll find a place to hide. We'll meet up later. Releasing his intent, Su Fong grabbed Xiao Mei, turned around, and flew towards the depths of the ice cave. Whoosh! Whoosh! Most of the Night Spirit cult experts who had come to attack followed after him. Zzz. The Vermilion Emperor jumped out of the evil Qi and spat out a demonic poison that entangled 7 Calamity Realm powerhouses. However, the others still chased after Su Fong and Xiao Mei. No matter how powerful it was, the difference in strength between it and these evil cult members wasn't that great. They were all in the Calamity Realm, so the Vermilion Emperor naturally couldn't hold them all back. But at least there was one thing. It wouldn't have the slightest accident. We can't let them escape after killing my cult members. Of the dozen or so Calamity Realm powerhouses, quite a few of them were at the 5th level of the Calamity Realm or higher. Among them, there was a gloomy old man in his 60s whose cultivation was probably close to the peak of the Calamity Realm. His evil Qi exploded from his eyes, and it felt like it could even corrode the world of ice. The dozen or so experts were getting closer and closer. Even if they reached the depths, they weren't afraid of the cold Qi that could freeze imperishable experts. We have to think of a way to shake them off. Xiao Mei looked back worriedly. Su Fong also glanced over. It's fine. We'll take it one step at a time. With just these few people, they won't be able to put our lives in danger. Master, Lu Yuan's Xianguang appeared from Su Fong's mouth. You're in charge of blocking a portion of the Night Spirit cult's experts. Hold them back as long as you can. You just need to hold on for half an incense stick's worth of time. Then you can escape by yourself. I'll leave some immortal blood in your body, as well as other resources. I'm a grand expert of the Xinyuan Empire. Why would I be afraid of an unknown cult? Lu Yuan was full of confidence as he watched Su Fong leave. Whoosh! Layers of sword nets interweaved under his control, forming a spiderweb that blocked the frozen space. Rustle! The dozen or so experts charged over. When they saw the sword net, the old man waved his hand to stop 3 of them and flew up with the other experts. Where do you think you're going? Lu Yuan grabbed with his large hand. Invisible claw seals and cold chi fused together and hit 3 people, dragging them into the sword net. As a result, Lu Yuan was only able to hold back 6 experts. All of you are below the 5th level of the Calamity Realm. Night Spirit Cult, take a look at my power. Inside and outside the sword net, there were 3 experts outside, while inside were the 3 cult members that had been forcefully dragged in. Sizzle. Not only did the 6 cult members control their flying swords, but they also spat out 6 streams of evil poisonous gas that were like burning black flames that struck the sword net. After a few rounds of corrosion, the sword net disappeared. Lu Yuan took a step back in shock. His strength had reached the peak of the Calamity Realm, but was actually dissolved by the power of 6 low-level Calamity Realm experts so quickly. He sighed inwardly. Why is there such a strange, evil aura that makes me feel vexed? I can't hold my breath. I don't care who you are. Puppet soldiers. Lu Yuan activated his sword arts, and 10 sword-shaped giants appeared around him. They were actually puppets. Unlike ordinary puppets, these 10 puppets wore high-grade armor and held high-grade flying swords in their hands. Although their quality had just reached the high grade, it was still inconceivable. Even the puppets were using high-grade, magical treasures. These are the divine puppet generals of my Shenyuan Empire. Ha! I'll let you blind fellows see the power of the Shenyuan Empire. He kept mentioning the Shenyuan Empire. It seemed that this big shot Lu Yuan still thought of him as someone from the Shenyuan Empire. Sizzle. Pa! Pa! The 6 evil experts of the Night Spirit sect didn't care about the divine puppet generals. There was only endless evil in their eyes. They controlled their poisonous gas and used it to attack the 10 divine puppet generals. The poisonous gas wasn't able to kill the puppets for a while. However, it was different when they used the poisonous gas to attack again. It was like a huge force that caused the 10 divine puppet generals to lose their luster. Oh! Lu Yuan frowned and activated the 10 divine puppet generals. They formed a group of 5 and used the sword chi in their hands to attack with their flying swords. The divine puppet generals' movements, auras, and actions were like those of invincible generals on the battlefield. The sword chi shot toward the Night Spirit sect experts on both sides like arrows. Sizzle. As expected of experts from the Shenyuan Empire, the divine puppet generals' attacks were powerful and domineering. When the Night Spirit sect experts tried to dodge, they couldn't outrun the sword chi. As a result, they were all struck by the sword chi and left behind deep sword wounds. However, the Night Spirit sect experts weren't afraid of pain. The flesh and blood within the wounds were also dark purple and emitted a burning, evil aura. The Night Spirit sect experts didn't make a sound, which shocked Lu Yuan. What kind of monster is this? It doesn't seem to have any consciousness. Could it be that an expert used God's descent to control its young infant? Whoosh! Whoosh! The 10 divine puppet generals launched a new wave of attacks. The sword chi became denser and fiercer as it shot toward the 6 evil sect experts. They also used their flying swords to resist, but they weren't as strong as Lu Yuan and were heavily injured again. Just as Lu Yuan thought that he would be able to kill the 6 experts if this continued, an unexpected scene took place. He watched helplessly as the 6 experts ignited their evil powers. The evil flames seemed to have gathered the experts' energy and caused them to fall one after another. After falling, their bodies gradually corroded and turned into pools of blood. In the end, only one evil sect member was left. He was covered in blood and had an evil heart in his chest. A large number of evil hand seals surged out of his body and pounced toward the 10 divine generals. The evil hand seals clashed with the divine generals' sword chi. This time, Lu Yuan's 10 divine puppet generals were unable to destroy the evil hand seals. Even if they did, they would fuse together, and the evil aura would corrode the puppets' auras. The sword chi struck the evil expert's body, but it didn't seem to be damaged at all. No matter how powerful the divine puppet general's attacks were, they were unable to completely destroy the evil expert. Submit. Submit. Just as Lu Yuan was about to unleash an even more powerful attack, an invisible burst of Yang's soul aura suddenly erupted from the evil cult member's body. In an instant, Lu Yuan's young infant saw a sea of blood in front of him. Within that sea of evil, there were countless evil figures that were ferociously charging toward him. What kind of young infant is this? Lu Yuan suddenly turned around and formed a hand seal, sucking away the 10 divine puppet generals and hurriedly fleeing toward the ice cave ahead. That evil expert also chased after him. Deep in a certain icy space. We should be fine now, right? The two of them passed through the icy space. Su Fong and Xiao Mei released their cold qi at the same time, so they weren't afraid of the ice cave's cold qi. The cold currents here could probably instantly freeze imperishable realm cultivators. Even young infant cultivators wouldn't be able to last long before becoming frozen. Xiao Mei said with some fear, "With my low longevity cultivation, if it weren't for the spirit gourd, I wouldn't have been able to control the cold qi. The spirit gourd you gave me last time was of great help to me. It was all thanks to the spirit gourd that I was able to reach the longevity realm in such a short time. The spirit gourd is formed from the Ewa Heaven realm's origin spiritual item. The origin it contains can help any cultivator's cultivation speed increase." Su Fong felt very gratified. Back then, he had obtained the spirit gourd with great difficulty in the heavenly gourd realm. It seemed that it had indeed been very useful. Whoosh! Whoosh! But who knew? The two of them had just relaxed because the cold qi around them was truly terrifying. Even their perception was shackled, and they were unable to pass through the cold currents. 11 of the Night Spirit sect's experts suddenly charged over. Furthermore, each of them had an evil aura burning around them, and their bodies had turned blood red. The elder shouted, "Brat from the Immortal Sealing sect, I already said that I wouldn't let you off. Do you still remember when you killed my Night Spirit sect disciples? I didn't forget you. How could it be you?" Su Fong protected Xiao Mei and let out a startled cry. The elder gloomily said, "This is a divine descent art, and not an ordinary one. I can transform into an infinite number of people. Any disciple of my Night Spirit sect can be said to be a clone of my will. No wonder you chased me all the way here. What a strange Night Spirit sect. I don't know why, but I can sense an aura from you that I can't control. That's why I must eliminate you. I can't let someone like you become an obstacle to my Night Spirit sect, unifying the Ijua Heaven realm in the future." Evil body fusion kill. The elder unleashed thunder, and the 10 blood-red experts all charged out. Black flames turned into waves, and the surrounding ice was filled with an evil aura. 909. Chapter 490. Su Fong's eyes turned cold as he protected Xiao Mei. This evil qi contains the power of the shackles. These Night Spirit sect experts have all reached the peak of the Calamity realm, and they're even stronger than that. Xiao bit her lip, her eyes filled with determination. "We'll kill our way out of this desperate situation together. Don't attack. Release the spirit gourd to absorb the evil qi or poison qi. I'll deal with these monsters." Whoosh! He arrived under the evil qi alone. "Master, I've already told the junior commander to prepare. His power is also in the process of merging." The Xinhuang 6 Paths Pagoda appeared in his divine aperture. Su Fong flipped his hand. In his right hand was the edgeless sword. In his left hand was the Rakshasa jade bottle. 5 poison true qi. Whoosh! This time, it wasn't the time to use his power to forcibly kill the enemy. Su Fongda took a deep breath, and the Rakshasa jade bottle spewed out 5 poison true qi. It transformed into a large army of poisonous creatures that collided with the evil qi devouring each other. The evil old man was very surprised. This is the 5-poison true qi of the 5-poison divine sect from over 100,000 years ago, right? It is indeed the 5-poison true qi, Su Fong straightforwardly replied. The 5-poison true qi also began to block the evil qi suppression. The old man indifferently shouted, "So my senses weren't wrong at all. You have an aura that I can't see through." As expected, a first-stage yang soul cultivator like you is a true expert. Today, I'll gather my magic power to eliminate you. I'm sorry, but if you want to kill me, you'll have to use your true body to kill me. I don't think you'll be able to do that. Then let me see just what kind of ability a celestial sealing sex disciple has. If you really do have some peerless methods, then when my night spirit sect completely slaughters its way into the 4 great continents, I'll personally go to the celestial sealing sect and suppress you. But that day won't come. Today, your life will end here. 222 After the old man finished speaking, the evil chi suppression became even more terrifying, especially the 10 experts who had turned blood red. Their auras were no longer at the calamity realm. Under the influence of the evil force, their strength had increased by several folds. Almost all of them had reached the 8th or 9th level of the calamity realm. If anyone of the 10 had such strength, then how terrifying would their combined strength be? This really surprised Su Fong. A moment ago, he only felt that the Night Spirit sect was extraordinary. At this moment, the Night Spirit sect completely displayed the strange ability of a great force of the righteous path. If they really grew stronger, who said that it was impossible to destroy all the righteous path forces in the Zhuotian realm? Illusory fire clouds and saber light exploded out, shattering the evil suppressing power layer by layer. It was almost as if the evil suppressing power was being restrained. The evil suppressing power caused the old man to flicker back and forth. It was a very strange sight. Whoosh! All of a sudden, a black streak appeared, transforming into a hand seal that looked like a whip. It moved so quickly that it slashed through the saber light. It slammed into the invincible golden body and the fleshly embryo god armor. It was like a bolt of black lightning, domineering and powerful. The whip hand seal shattered the invincible golden body's defenses and left behind a trail of flames on the fleshly embryo god armor, which then shattered. Boom! However, Su Fong would not just sit there and take a beating. With this attack, he had witnessed the evil old man's attack methods. Taking advantage of the moment when the flesh fetus divine armor was shattered, he leaned to the side and struck the black-striped handprint with his sword. The handprint was shattered into pieces and turned into dust with a loud bang. The evil-suppressing golden body released several more black-striped hand seals that filled the sky. It was as if the evil-suppressing golden body was a devil with countless blood-sucking hands of darkness. Su Fong used the ruler's divine steps and used his divine image. After combining with his divine image, he once again condensed the invincible golden body and the fleshly embryo god armor. Relying on these 2 defenses, he was actually able to block the evil, suppressing golden body's attack. It wasn't simple. As he dodged the evil, suppressing golden body's attacks, it was as if his life and death would be decided at any moment. Any of the evil, suppressing golden body's attacks were tyrannical. Dodging the black-striped hand seals, he practically brushed past them. The invincible golden body's attacks caused sparks to appear. Are you determined to kill me? It's been a long time since I've had the urge to kill. I'm just focused on killing one person. The evil, suppressing golden body appeared above him and sneered. Last time, you joined forces with Li Qianlong, the venerated Tao disciple of the Azure Sky sect. You killed quite a few of my subordinates. In the end, some of my power was destroyed by Li Qianlong. However, I don't have any thoughts of killing Li Qianlong. You don't want to kill experts, so why do you want to kill me, a first-stage Yang soul cultivator? Su Fong really wanted to curse out loud, but he suddenly felt that he had been wronged. Li Qianlong is a venerated Tao disciple of the Azure Sky sect. That Azure Sky sect is my Night Spirit religion's main enemy. Their foundation is too rich and they also have connections with great worlds. They're practically a small world faction protected by immortals. However, I don't think the Azure Sky sect can stop my Night Spirit religion in the end. Chapter 491. The evil aura broke through, and the ghostly middle-aged man led the 10 experts as they floated above the collapsing ice layer. Looking down at the collapsed ice cave, he said, "Two powerful royal gray Dharma artifacts. One came from the 5 Poison Divine sect, and the other came from the Wu-Tang realm. Isn't that the Sky, Snow, Flying Raccoon? That kid is really capable to be able to imprison the Sky, Snow, Flying Raccoon in such a short time. Forget it. Such a big commotion will only attract more experts. My words still count. There will be a day when I will slaughter my way to the Celestial Sealing sect to find you." The middle-aged man's evil eyes were grave and stern. He waved his arm, and the 10 blood men flew away with him, gradually returning to their normal appearances. Boom! A dozen breaths later, the ice layer was 1,000 meters deeper than the previous space. The Sky Snow Flying Raccoon was like a snowball as it forcefully fell through the cracks of the ice cave. Just as it reached this deep world, a cold current swept past and sealed it in ice. What a terrifying cold aura. Even a young soul cultivator would be instantly sealed in ice. The Sky Snow Flying Raccoon easily moved its limbs, and the ice layer around it instantly shattered. It once again fled downwards, arriving at an ice cave that was several times larger than before. When its body shrunk, it released a cold aura. This cold aura merged with most of the spiritual chi and a portion of demonic chi, forming an ice barrier that protected Su Fong and Xiao Meier. "Master, I will wait in this space. Don't worry, only very powerful human cultivators and Big Goblin can appear in this kind of deep space. If you are unlucky, you might run into one or two." In the blink of an eye, the Sky Snow Flying Raccoon appeared above the ice cave and slowly sealed it in ice. It was like a real snowball suspended in midair, within the ice filled with spiritual chi and demonic chi. Xiao Mei, it did not let go of Su Fong. She looked at the shattered blood marks on her body and breathed weakly. Xiao Meier's voice was hoarse as she said, How? How could this be? Don't scare me. I need to rest for a long time. Don't worry about me. I'm just heavily injured. It's not enough to take my life." It seemed that Su Fong had used the last of his strength to say this. He could not even open his eyes. After he finished speaking, he looked like he had lost all signs of life. Buzz, the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda, suddenly appeared and floated on top of the Xian ice. It emitted a powerful magic power and poured into Su Fong's body. The dragon-taming wood on his left arm was also releasing a strong life force. Although the energy consumption was shocking, an astonishing amount of yang qi was still gushing out from the origin golden core and the purple cloud Dharma spirit. His consciousness blurred. As long as one end of the rune was broken or sealed, the other end of the rune would not be able to sense it. Xiao Mei-er's action was to make the Zuan Pavilion's giant unable to sense her aura. In the past, you were the one who saved Big Brother Fong time and time again. This time, I'll let Meier save you. Just this time, I hope you won't blame me in the future. Next, Xiao Meier used her cold qi to condense a restriction in the ice. She carefully held up Su Fong, protecting him as she came to the restriction. Then, she removed most of Su Fong's tattered Taoist robe, revealing his blood-marked naked body. At this moment, although Su Fong's body was broken, his life force was still very strong. As expected of someone who possessed the Black Lotus true body and the dragon subduing wood. In the end, under the explosive potential of his perfect body, he was able to heal himself step by step in the face of death. And Xiao Meier, at this moment, she also took off her snow-white cloak, as well as all her Taoist robes. She once more hugged Su Fong and happily chanted many incantations. Some pure cold qi seeped out from Xiao Mei-er's jade-like body like silk. It looked like smoke, but also like the ripples of a wave. After the cold qi exploded, it was automatically absorbed by Su Fang's yang qi into his body. It really is as I thought. He has the world's most perfect yang body. Now that he's heavily injured, he needs the most yin and the most gentle frost qi to fuse with each other. He needs to reach the rumored level of strength and fierceness, the fusion of yin and yang. His heart is like water, clear as ice, untainted by dust, empty as a bright platform, empty as a myriad of transformations. His heart is happy and his spirit is focused. At the beginning, there must be karma, the Tao platform and spiritual foundation. My heart returns to one. Flying flowers and falling leaves, karma seeks the cause, only fated to worry. Each incantation caused Xiao Mei-er's body to release even more cold qi, as well as the pure yuan true qi within her body. Whoosh! It wasn't a yang nascent soul, but Xiao Mei-er's weak yuan spirit. If she had a yang nascent soul, it would be indescribably helpful to Su Fang. In order to help Su Fang, Xiao Mei also released her most important yuan spirit, which entered Su Fang's mind along with the cold qi. Gradually, her consciousness entered the depths of Su Fang's mind. When she saw the divine aperture, because Su Fang's body had adapted and accepted her aura, the divine aperture's defenses didn't block her yuan spirit. After entering the divine aperture and seeing the withered young nascent soul, Xiao Mei-er released her yuan spirit and tightly hugged the young nascent soul. Just like when she was young, she didn't involve herself in the affairs of men and women. She was filled with innocence, treating the other person as her only playmate in the world. Chapter 492. The talisman I gave Mei-er's aura disappeared into thin air. Previously, Su Fang, the Vermilion Emperor, and dozens of experts from the Night Spirit sect had been fighting. Because of the heavy injuries caused by the sky snow, flying raccoon, the space had become a ruin. 3 peerless experts from the Zuan Pavilion had come to this space and were using their great abilities to sense everything. The masked Wang Yuan looked at Zhang Suning. Elder, I can't sense Mei-er's exact location. As an elder, Zhang Sunying's eyes were like torches. There was a battle here, and we purposely lured most of the experts from the Night Spirit sect into this area. I reckon there are only 2 endings. The experts from the Night Spirit sect killed Mei-er and Fang Yu, and their lives disappeared. Their corpses were controlled by the Night Spirit sect, where they fell into the deep layer of ice. Naturally, we can't sense the rune's aura. Wang Yuan shook her head firmly. Mei-er won't betray my master. Although I'm a Tao master, I've officially accepted her as my disciple. She won't ignore my orders. That's good. If I, the Grand Zuan Pavilion, can't even control an ordinary female disciple, wouldn't that be a huge joke? Zhang Suning smiled indifferently. Deep layer of ice, the sky, snow, flying raccoon, was guarding above. It was like a block of ice that was embedded high up in the sky. If any person or demon approached, they would be instantly killed. Below, ice within the layers of ice spirit qi, there was a unique seal. Inside the seal, the 2 bodies intertwined. Su Fang's body was no longer in a broken state. The shocking cracks from before had mostly healed. The blood vessels of the Su Fang true body could be clearly seen from his skin and wounds. Moreover, Su Fang's yang qi was powerful and abundant. The cold qi that Xiao Mei-er cultivated contained the yin origin energy of a woman of pure yin. Together with the cold qi, it was naturally absorbed into Su Fang's body. Almost at the same time, Su Fang's yang qi and powerful life force also entered Xiao Mei-er's body. Yin and yang swapped and absorbed each other. Little did they know that Xiao Mei-er's aura had already reached the level of undying. It seemed that in a short period of time, after absorbing Su Fang's powerful yang qi, Xiao Mei had reached a state of yin and yang fusion. This was equivalent to absorbing Su Fang's young nascent soul's power and directly increasing her strength. Even marrow cleansing and head empowerment could not reach this state. Deep in Su Fang's mind, inside his divine aperture, Xiao Mei Er's primordial spirit, which was wrapped around Su Fang's, was no longer illusory and transparent. Instead, it was in a vivid and lifelike state. Su Fang's young infant was no longer dispirited and had recovered quite a bit compared to before. The changes in Xiao Mei Er's primordial spirit were shocking. It was about the same as the yang soul of a yang soul cultivator.